There are probably rules on when to move up to a booster seat, aren't there?
Rear-facing, forward-facing? I think I have it right.
Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Don't think you know you know. Go to safercar.gov/the right seat.
I know my child's in the right car seat, or else I wouldn't get in the driver's seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You don't usually get a stock tip from a 16-year-old, but I'm here to tell you about a different kind of stock. It's called Better Futures, a stock for social change that's not about making money. Instead, you invest to help students like me go to college. This is beyond a simple donation. It's the opportunity for America to invest in its kids and take an active stake in the future of the country. The return on your investment isn't money. What you get back is knowing you protected our potential. So one day, that potential can grow up to become surgeons and architects, executives and engineers, people who can change the future just by being a part of it. My name is Alicia, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A public service announcement brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
This is Nnamdi Asamoah. I play football for the Philadelphia Eagles, but what I do off the field with United Way might be more important. I'm a volunteer tutor and mentor. Why? Because over 1 million kids a year drop out of school, and that's not okay. It takes 12 years to create a graduate, but it takes about the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between a child becoming one or the other could be me, or it could be you. Studies show that if we get to these kids earlier, their chances are better, and kids who read well by 3rd grade are more likely to graduate. So join me in United Way. Suit up and take the pledge. Become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor, because when a child succeeds, we all succeed. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Take the pledge at unitedway.org. Brought to you by United Way, the Ad Council, and the National Football League.
They'll challenge your authority. They'll try to break your will. They'll push you to the edge of your sanity. Because that's what kids do. But this car is your territory, not theirs. Defend it. Who makes the payments? Who cleans it? Who drives it? You do. That's who. And in here, your word is law. So when you say you won't move until everyone's buckled up, you won't budge an inch. Until you hear that click. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. For more information, visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup.
Let's go inside the mind of a 10-year-old.
I should have worn those earrings today. I like those earrings. Gabby has those awesome earrings. I need to ask her where she got those, but that's just what she would want me to do. I'll have Michaela ask her for me.
Buckle up, Sarah.
Yeah, but then Michaela will be like, why don't you just ask her yourself? That's just like Michaela.
Sarah, buckle up.
Michaela's such a great name. I wish I was called Michaela. There's like a dozen Sarahs in my class.
Hey, we're not hitting the road until you buckle up, honey.
Oh yeah, seatbelt. I forget sometimes because my brain is like busy, you know? I wonder if there's pizza at school today.
Sometimes it can be tough to get through to your kids, but it's not impossible. Always make sure they're wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Remember, you have the keys, you have the power. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, game show host, father of 5, and all-around big dude. I'm also an expert on drama. I know all kinds of drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids. There's the bad kind, like season-ending injuries. There's the necessary kind, like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama, like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her?
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! It's now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend?
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is you over 30 years ago.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
And this is your mom when you drive her back from therapy.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Roles change without us noticing, and in your new role, we help you help. AARP gives you the information to help care for your mom so that you can have patience with her, just like she did with you. Visit aarp.org/caregiving or call 1-877-333-5885 to get practical health and wellness tips to provide even better care for your loved one.
Are we there yet?
Remember, visit aarp.org/caregiving. AARP, we help you help. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese.
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
What are you talking about?
No, it's not him. There is only one more. There is only one More! That's it! One more! Get a rest! No!
They saw your team put up zero effort.
Wake up!
Remember in the old days they used to have oxygen for them. Where's the oxygen?
Play like absolute just garbage.
This is the Sports Loudmouths.
Yay!
Man, can you keep it down? I'm trying to introduce here. With Errol Marks and Speedy Beatty.
You're not even a has-been. You're a never was. You're a never was. You're a never was. March 22nd, ladies and gentlemen. It's going quick. The year is just sliding right by. No winter, a little bit of fall. I guess we began spring in January, ladies and gentlemen. But you are listening to the Sports Loudmouth. 631-672-3108 is the number to call. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week. All of them are live, ladies and gentlemen. They are not podcasts. They are live shows, so you can interact with all the talent on our network, and you can call our numbers and call the shows, listen to all our guests, interact with all the great analysts on our network. Check out all our stories that we post throughout the week as well. Speedy, what's up, man?
Battling some allergies over the weekend, but feeling much better now. But did enjoy a lot of the March Madness. Definitely enjoyed a lot. Kansas getting knocked down a lot. They're one of two number one seeds that got knocked out. And
I lost $80.
Oh,
$80 betting.
I thought you weren't going to bet anymore. Then you bet on them.
Just think about it this way, Speedy. This team, Kansas, really for 47 straight games with 8 points or more going into the half, haven't lost. They're 47-0. In the game that I bet, when they're up by 8, they lose. It's my luck.
Mm-hmm.
It's my luck.
So they were one of two number one seeds that got knocked out, and our
horrible.
Our special guest is probably not too happy about the other one that got knocked out by a 16 seed.
Throughout the night, we are going to be posting something right on the bottom of the page. Anybody that's listening to the show right now, and we have a ton. Everybody that's interactive on our show, watching our show, listening to our show, we will post it. And Speedy, I'll have you read off the GoFundMe page that we have. My friend Jeremiah is very, very sick. He lost a lot of weight. He's been going for CAT scans and all different things for his body in the hospital. He's doing really, really bad right now. He needs your help. April 1st, his insurance will be kicking in, but right now he's been paying out of his pocket. So please, ladies and gentlemen, all you guys out there that are listening to the show and who are big fans of the shows that we post up all over our social media market and our website, please help Jeremiah, help him. Go to his GoFundMe page. Speedy, why don't you read it off right now so everybody has it?
Yep. His GoFundMe page is at the bottom of the screen right there. And he is, like you were saying, dealing with a lot. You said he lost 50 pounds. He was seeking...
Well, read it off. How do people that are listening to our stream, obviously we need people to understand how they can find it.
Yeah, he goes to https www.gofundme.com/f/help Jeremiah find help hashtag Jeremiah
Could you read?
Jeremiah find diagnosis. The help Jeremiah find diagnosis page on the bottom of the screen on our stream.
I love messing with
him. If you need any help sending the link, I will be more than happy to post it in comment sections.
Please, everybody out there, that obviously there's so many people that need help and that have problems with money right now. Jeremiah has been paying out of his pocket. I want everybody out there. This is a kid that I've known for a very long time, a kid that I have a lot of respect for. Please go to his GoFundMe page and help him out. It's very, very important. I don't care if it's $2, $3, every dollar, every penny counts. So please go on his GoFundMe page and help him. At 7:30, we'll be talking to former Raiders and Lions safety Stuart Schweigert. He'll be joining us. We love him. Stewie is back, ladies and gentlemen. Some of his crazy stories. We are looking forward to getting him on the show again. Pro Football Talk. Mike Florio reports Lamar Jackson is ready to move on from the Ravens. Not surprised. We will get into that. The Jets sign Mecole Hardman and trade Elijah Moore. Everybody out there that I've been saying this over and over again, that Elijah Moore will be gone at the end of the season after all the craziness that he caused in the middle of the season with the Kyrie Irving situation, and then the Jets telling the Jets that he wants to be traded. So now he gets traded. He gets traded to the Browns. We will go through what the Jets got and what they gave up for Elijah Moore. Packers president Mark Murphy says that he is sworn to secrecy about Aaron Rodgers, and he still believes the Packers have leverage. What is he, on drugs or something? Is he on drugs, Speedy? I don't know.
I don't know. Could you?
I'm lost here.
You definitely could rope drugs into cheese, so that might not be too hard.
You're absolutely right. And as you saw, our friend Sauce, cooking a little cheese, the cheese head that he got after the Jets knocked off the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay this year. Well, it's swimming right now in the fire. Dan Snyder and his wife, Tanya, are cleared out of the Commanders team facility, and many people believe a sale could come next week. Hallelujah. Japan defeats the USA in the World Baseball Classic Championship 3-2. We will get into that. March Madness first weekend is complete, and Purdue becomes the second number 1 seed to lose to a number 16 seed as they lose to a team in Dickinson, who to me is a very interesting team going into the tournament, because nobody thought they should have made the tournament and then get knocked off in the second round. But congratulations to them. They absolutely deserve a lot of credit knocking off a number 1 seed like Purdue, a team that I had going to the Final Four. So thank you, Purdue, for losing and hurting my bracket.
Don't worry, at least you still got Alabama.
That's not saying much. Paul George is out for 3 weeks with a knee sprain. Karl Anthony Towns returns tonight for the first time since November. Zion Williamson could be back in 2 weeks. And yes, the New York Islanders in a lot of trouble because now they lose Brock Nelson. So if you're an Islander fan, as yours truly is, I'm not very happy about this, and we don't know when Barzell's coming back. Brock Nelson, who's been their leading scorer, has 63 points or 64 points right now, has 30 goals and 32 or 33 assists. And now that the Islanders with an injury like this, there's no guarantees. This is the same thing that happened to Barzell. Nobody has given us any information on how bad the Barzell injury is, and now Brock Nelson could be out throughout the playoffs if the Islanders actually make the playoffs. Don't expect Brock Nelson to play anymore this season going into the playoffs. So just so all you Islander fans know, and I don't want to sit here and make everybody sad and all the Islanders fans sad, but it doesn't sound good. That's all I'm going to say. So why don't we get into it? It's always the New York Jets. It seems like they're the center of attention. I know everybody says, well, you're a Jet fan, Errol, and that's why they're the center of attention. That is not true. Over the last couple of weeks, the Jets have been the talk of the town with the Aaron Rodgers situation. And anybody wants to hold stock on Aaron Rodgers saying that he wants to be a Jet. Well, why is it so hard for the Jets to make this move and land Aaron Rodgers? Well, I don't know. Maybe because Mike Murphy, the team president, says, I'm sworn to secrecy. I can't tell you what we're planning to do, and we have leverage. We will get into that in just a few moments. But the Jets today signed Mecole Hardman, and everybody that saw that, signing a 1-year, $6.5 million deal, everybody was wondering who is out in that locker room. And I've been saying this since last year, since last season, when Elijah Moore forced the Jets' hand, telling them that he wants to be traded. It didn't look good for him because Joe Douglas does not like me players. He comes from an organization like the Baltimore Ravens. That is an organization that don't like me players. Now, I don't want to hear anybody say that Lamar Jackson is a me player because he's not. Anybody that goes on the field last year with no contract and plays almost a full season, practically gets his team into the playoffs, and the team just doesn't want to give him an extension, I would be pissed too. The Jets also trade wide receiver Elijah Moore and their third-round pick, which is the 74th overall pick, to the Browns for a second-round pick, which is 42nd overall in the 2023 NFL Draft, as the Jets hold the 41st. The Browns hold the 42nd. So what does that tell you right now as far as bringing in Mecole Hardman? Mecole Hardman is one of the fastest players in the NFL. He adds speed to the Jets. He's 25 years old to Elijah Moore's 22. Elijah Moore was supposed to be a star when the Jets drafted him in the second round 2 years ago. His first year, he showed the ability that he had, and he fell off the second year. Maybe it's because of Zach Wilson, the decline of Zach Wilson, and maybe just because of the lack of the quarterback talent that the Jets had over there with Joe Flacco and Mr. White. It just didn't work out over there with the New York Jets. And then during the season, like I was just saying, he wanted out. He didn't want to be there. And the Jets were not moving him. The Jets will not move on from a player that tries to force his way out. We've seen Joe Douglas do this a time and time again ever since he came to the Jets. And now this offseason, the Jets are trying to figure out how they're going to make this move for Aaron Rodgers, not giving up a first-round draft pick, adding a second-round pick, trading their third. They have 2 second-round draft picks this year, and I think they have 2 fourths. They have the ability to make a move for Aaron Rodgers and not give up a first. Hardman only played 8 games last year for the Chiefs. Had 25 catches to 297 yards and 4 touchdowns. Elijah Moore in 16 games had 37 catches for 446 yards and just 1 touchdown. Now, people are going to try to compare and contrast what Elijah Moore is as a player and what obviously Hardman is as a player. Who's better? They're both young wide receivers. They're both young talented players that both have speed. I think, obviously, Hardman is a little bit better than Elijah Moore, as we see on paper. That doesn't sell me, or that doesn't tell me anything. A lot of people believe after trading Elijah Moore, this means OBJ could be the next one in, because obviously Aaron Rodgers wanted him and wants him to play for the Jets if he were to move forward and play for the New York Jets as a starting quarterback going into this season, which we know he is. There was no list. On the Pat McAfee show, he came out and said there was nothing or a list that says that he wanted all the players on that list. Lazar was a guy that fit with the Jets, fit in the Nathaniel Hackett offense. Now, Aaron Rodgers could be heading to the New York Jets, and you add guys like Mecole Hardman, a speed guy on the outside. These are the type of players that Aaron Rodgers did not have in Green Bay for the last couple of years. The weapons that the Jets are starting to store on this team really stands out for what the Jets believe they're going to be as an offense this year with Aaron Rodgers as a starting quarterback. Elijah Moore last year was frustrated with the Jets for lack of targets, taking shots at many coaches and quarterback Zach Wilson. The same guy that when Zach Wilson came to the team in the same draft, they were hanging out, going to dinners with Zach Wilson's father and family. Elijah Moore, very well respected, loves his family, bought his mom a house. I thought he was a great guy. And then he came out agreeing with Kyrie Irving, the anti-Semitic views that he had. One of very few athletes that really came out and said that and agreed with Kyrie Irving. And then practically it tried to force his way out in the middle of the season when the Jets had no interest in trading the kid. I sit here and I argue my points throughout the season last year of the lack of offense the Jets had. And I'm telling you, it is the quarterback play. There's no question it's been the quarterback play for the New York Jets. It's been the quarterback play for the last 50 years. The Jets have never had an elite quarterback. Even, and I know everybody keeps talking about Broadway Joe. He was never an elite quarterback. I can't sit here and argue why the Jets in 50 years couldn't find a quarterback in the draft. And everybody says, well, Mark Sanchez got the Jets to back-to-back AFC title games. Yeah, Rex Ryan's defense got the Jets to back-to-back title games. I can't argue my points of the lack of offense the Jets have had. As a matter of fact, they have had one quarterback in history that threw 4,000 yards. Broadway Joe. I'm not going to argue that Hardman in his last full season in 2021 had 59 catches and 693 yards and 2 touchdowns and averaged an 8.6 yards per catch, and which was ranked second in the NFL. No, I'm not going to try to compare what Hardman did 2 years ago because it really doesn't matter. The NFL is a now league. And signing him 1 year, $6.5 million, the Jets believe he could be a piece and a missing piece that the Jets haven't had. A speed demon on the outside. A guy like Garrett Wilson, who's one of the best route runners in the NFL as a rookie. You had Lazar, a guy that could play in the slot. You can move him to your second guy on the outside. And then Denzel Mims. And maybe they bring in OBJ. I don't want OBJ. I think he ruins locker rooms. It doesn't make sense for the Jets to do that. But if they're trying to specifically help Aaron Rodgers out and make Aaron Rodgers the happiest quarterback in the NFL, they're going to make that trade. They're going to make that move. Hardman and Aaron Rodgers have expressed interest in playing with each other in the past years. The Jets now, like I said, have Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazar, Denzel Mims, Mecole Hardman. Has a tremendous amount of depth in that locker room. Corey Davis is on his way out. The Jets are probably going to move him either in the Aaron Rodgers trade because they need weapons. They don't have any because everybody wants out because Aaron Rodgers is not there anymore. The Browns had previously been in trade talks with Jerry Jeudy, in addition to more. The Browns also assigned Amari Cooper to a big contract. And also have Donovan Peoples-Jones still on a rookie contract. I can argue why the Jets made this trade with the Browns. The Browns need another number 2. They gave up a 2. The Jets swapped them with a 3rd. And a guy like Elijah Moore, who could be a 1,000-yard wide receiver. He absolutely could be. And with Watts in there, a weapon like that, who you can move in the slot, move him on the outside. And Elijah Moore looked better in the slot this year for the Jets than he did on the outside. I don't know how it's going to work over there with Cleveland, but it makes sense where they can put him in that offense. He's not a blocker. He's very small. And I think that's something that the Jets were looking for. They're looking for guys that could block. Lazar is a good blocking wide receiver. Denzel Mims, when he did play this year, was a good blocking receiver. Elijah Moore couldn't stand in front of a beach ball. That's the problem here. And I know everybody's going to sit here and it's always about the Jets. What is the Jets going to do? Why is this show all about the Jets? Because the Jets right now are the only team that is the center of attention right now in the NFL. Why? Because Aaron Rodgers is making it that way. It's been all about Aaron. There should be a show. There should be a segment all about Aaron. Because the Jets are not the Jets. It's Aaron Rodgers, then the Jets.
All the processes to get to the Aaron Rodgers trade. When will it come? Nobody knows.
I see Justin Booker says Lazar sucks at Monopoly as well. Good for him. I don't know. I've never seen him play Monopoly. I'm not very good at Monopoly. I'm probably better at Uno. You ever play Uno?
Yes, I have.
I'm actually pretty good at Uno. I've played with multiple different people, and I've actually been pretty good at the game. Mm-hmm. Crazy Eights too, by the way. I'm very.
Have you played any other variations? There's a couple other ones too.
No, I know you play a bunch of games with your family.
Yeah, there's like 5 other variations of it too. But yeah,
Connect 4 is my game.
Connect 4 is your game. Yeah, I have not done in a while. I actually saw a big one though at one of the museums I visited a couple of years ago in Boston. Has a big Connect 4 thing.
And I'm not. And by the way, Jeff says the move makes no sense. Earl will try to justify it. No, that's not true. And it doesn't make sense. It makes a lot of sense. The Jets lose a wide receiver to add another wide receiver. Elijah Moore and Hardman are practically the same player. If anything, Hardman's a little bit better. A little bit. We don't know what Elijah Moore is because Elijah Moore didn't have much of a season last year because he had nobody throwing the ball to him. I can't sit here right now and justify anything the Jets have done this offseason until the season starts. Also, if the Jets land Aaron Rodgers, that's the secret here. If they don't get Aaron Rodgers, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who they land. It doesn't matter if they landed Hardman. It doesn't matter if they have an extended second pick. If they don't have a quarterback that can throw the ball, it doesn't matter. And they don't have one on this roster because Zach Wilson right now is number 1. Zach Wilson is number 2. And if you want to say Zach Wilson is number 3, I don't even think the Jets have a backup quarterback. Because Flacco's not on this roster. White's with Miami. I'm not going to sit here and argue that. All right, Speedy, who do we have?
We got Jeff on the phone.
Go ahead, Jeff.
I don't understand how you can say this move makes sense. You complained last week about 11 million is too much for Juju.
Mm-hmm.
All this money. You just gave Nicole Hardman, who had 297 yards last year, $6.5 million.
How many times was he thrown to last year?
It doesn't matter.
How many times was he thrown to last year?
You want to get thrown to? Get open. And don't tell me it's the quarterback because Mahomes is one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
How many times was he thrown to last year, Jeff?
34 targets, 25 catches.
25 catches. Was he amongst the league's top 5 with catches per yards? Was he? I think he was. Yes, he was.
In 2021, he was second in the league.
Second in the league by catches per yard.
So years ago, not last year.
All right, 2020. It's like years ago. It's 2 years ago.
It's 2 years ago. Right. His last full season.
Right, years with an S, years ago.
Okay,
and
Jeff.
Now you pay.
So you're going to see.
Now you had a guy that was only going to get $1 million.
Really?
You're already strapped for.
Really, $1 million?
Elijah Moore, $1 million.
All right, I'm talking about Hardman. I'm not talking about Elijah Moore. They signed him to a 1-year deal. They don't know if they're getting OBJ. Do they know they're definitely getting OBJ?
But this is part of the equation. You're already strapped to cap space to fit Aaron Rodgers in, and then you're dumping $5 million for essentially the same player.
Well, they're moving on from another wide receiver that was on the roster last year that couldn't stay healthy.
And so now you're whining about someone that couldn't stay healthy last year when Hardman couldn't. And you're
Hardman, that was the first. Last year was the first year Hardman couldn't stay healthy for a full season. Last year.
Right, but you just complained about someone missing games last year.
Jeff, why do you call up and argue a point that you already know the answer to?
I just want consistency.
Here's the consistency. It was a good move for the Jets. They needed to add another draft pick. They traded a third for a second and Elijah Moore to get that second pick so they can move on and try to get Aaron Rodgers. They're probably going to hold on. They're probably giving up a second round draft pick this year and a third next year or maybe a fourth to land him. They want a first. They're not willing to give up a first, so they're going after Aaron Rodgers with seconds. So what is the complaint here? They needed to make a move. They needed to add that second. If they decide to trade away a second or 2 seconds for Aaron Rodgers, it was a good move for Joe Douglas. Why are you saying it's a bad move for the Jets? Hardman is one of the best wide receivers available in free agency still. Is he not? Is he not? There's not many of them.
Now he might be because there's nobody left.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
But you just last week you were complaining all these other guys don't move the needle. No good. And now Hardman's a good receiver.
I didn't say, hold on one second. I did not say Hardman is a great wide receiver. I said he fits what the Jets are going to use him for. And for what Elijah Moore did last year, what did he average? What did he have, 400 yards? He had 400 yards and was bitching and moaning. You add Hardman, you give him an outside threat, a guy that Aaron Rodgers was probably like the gun and throw the ball down the field to, and who can run a 40 in 4.3 seconds, actually is a good move for the Jets. I don't know how good, but we'll see.
But just think about what you're doing. The guy that had 300 yards last year is better than the guy that had 400 yards last year. When the guy that had 300 yards had Patrick Mahomes, and the guy that had 400 had nobody. That's a much better season, much more impressive than what Nicole Hardman did.
Okay, how many times did Elijah Moore get the ball thrown to him this past year? How many times did he see the ball?
Hold on. How many times was the ball catchable? Let's just start there.
Oh, stop, Jeff. You're gonna go back and forth and argue the points. I'm not saying Elijah Moore isn't better than him, but on paper right now, when you're trying to compare and contrast both players, honestly, I'm gonna take Hardman over him because Elijah Moore is a crybaby. He was complaining that he wasn't seeing the ball enough. He wasn't getting the ball enough. Now finally they move on. Okay, we'll see if the big player goes to the Browns this year and puts up big numbers. Because if he doesn't, he's going to look really, really bad going to play with Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, 65 targets, 37 catches last year.
Right. All I'm telling you is that he had more yards with a worse quarterback than Nicole Hardman.
I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing.
And now you're paying that other guy 6 times more than you have to pay Elijah. That seems crazy.
Right now, he was the best option the Jets can go with if they were going to trade him. They traded him. It was all for Aaron Rodgers. If you look at the picture, the big picture right now, this move was practically to bring Aaron Rodgers in. They needed to add a second. They got a second, and now they're going to move on and make that trade for Aaron Rodgers. I expect this Aaron Rodgers trade to be done by the end of the week. I expect it.
This wide receiver group is so deep this year. They would have been better off drafting someone than paying Nicole Hardman $6.5 million.
Okay, so let's look at it. If the Jets trade if they didn't make this trade, let's say, or they made the trade and they got
No. My issue is not with the trade because I actually like the return for the trade.
Okay, all right. So
my issue is that Nicole Hardman is not better than him.
They signed a 1-year deal with Hardman. 1 year. 1 year, right, Jeff. They're going for it all this year, as you see with Aaron Rodgers and some of the moves that they're going to make. They're making the big moves to win this year.
Right, but when you're searching for cap space, paying 6 times more than Elijah Moore costs doesn't seem smart. It doesn't.
Well, they're getting rid of a wide receiving contract, and there are some talks that they're moving one of the wide receivers in the trade for Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, who would that be? Corey Davis?
Corey Davis, yeah. Corey Davis will be traded probably in the Aaron Rodgers trade to land Aaron Rodgers. They need a wide receiver.
So then the only 2 receivers on your roster are Mims Mims, Hardman, and Garrett Wilson.
And Lazard.
Oh, Lazard. I forgot about Lazard. Sorry about that.
Yeah. And they're not done because if they bring an OBJ, or maybe they draft somebody. Who knows what the Jets are planning to do in this year's draft?
Right, but I'm just saying the swap right now looks like Nicole Hardman for Elijah Moore. And I'm just telling you, if that's the swap, I would have rather draft a guy because paying $6.5 million to a dude that did nothing makes no sense.
Jeff, it's 1 year. It's 1 year. They get a speed guy who might play very well with a guy like Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball to him. I mean,
but
it's not Mike White.
But you could.
It's not Zach Wilson, who you like to make jokes about, or old man Joe.
You could go and get Zay Flowers, and that would be just as good. You could go and get Josh Downs, and that would be just as good. You could go get Keyshawn Boutte, and that would be just as good. And you wouldn't have to pay him $6.5 million when you're looking for cap space.
Maybe they don't like the wide receivers in this year's class. Maybe they don't like them.
They should.
But maybe they don't. Maybe Joe Douglas wasn't thinking about adding a wide receiver in this class. Maybe he's trying to trade down at 13 to add a tight end. Maybe they want to bring in Mayer from Notre Dame.
That's poor move.
Why?
Give me Darnell Washington.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah, Georgia Bulldog. We all know.
No. I'll just tell you this. There's two tight ends in this draft that I absolutely love because they're the same size. They're huge targets, and they're going to be really good. Wiley from Cincinnati and Darnell Washington. They're both 6'6". Beat that.
I like Washington a lot, too. He's my number 1.
Jeff, we'll talk about this later because we have our guest coming on. Call back later.
All right, Jeff. Talk.
Jeff.
Oh, Jeff.
He didn't remember Alan Lazard. Did he not remember him?
No, he did not.
No, it seems like Jeff likes to attack everything I say. I never said that Hardman was going to be a superstar. Did you hear that from me?
I don't think anyone thinks Hardman was a superstar.
No, I think he could be a 600-yard guy, a speed demon on the outside. He adds another, dimensional type of player. A guy that's going to – the Jets are just trying to figure out the compensation right now for Aaron Rodgers. They're just trying to figure it out, and they're not willing to give up first-round draft picks. So now that they have 2 second-round draft picks, now they could start figuring out how this makes sense, how they can negotiate the compensation for Aaron Rodgers. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we will be talking to our friend ex-Raider and Lion safety Stuart Schweigert here on the Sports Loudmouths.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. This is the Sports Loudmouths.
631-672-3108 is the number to call. You are listening to the Sports Loudmouths. Remember, you can go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including us, the Sports Loudmouths, which airs live in color every single Wednesdays at 7 p.m. and Thursdays at 9 p.m. Great shows, great content, great guests. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, listen to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network every single week. Before we get to our guest, I want to give a shout out to our man, my friend Jeremiah right now, that's doing and trying to get healthy. He's out in the hospital right now. He has a GoFundMe page. We're going to be posting it throughout the show. Go send some money to our friend Jeremiah. He's been dealing with a lot of medical problems. His insurance is not going to be kicking in until April 1st, so he needs all the help you guys can give. Please, we will post it throughout the show. Go to Jeremiah's GoFundMe page. Help him out. He lost 60 pounds or 50 pounds in the past 6 months. He's trying to figure out what is wrong with him. He came back to New York. We have the best doctors here. He was living in Hawaii. He's a surfer and a construction worker. And it's just a shame he's been going through all this craziness. He's a friend of mine. So please, guys, please send him some money on his GoFundMe page. And now, ladies and gentlemen, our very special guest, our only guest of the night. It's the first time in a long time we only have one guest for the night. Maybe we're going to give him the center of attention on our show. We are now talking to former Raiders, Lion safety, Stuart Schweigert. Stuart, what's up, man?
What's going on, fellas, man? I'm so pumped to be on here. And so I was thinking, I turned on the show. I was getting ready for the show. My wife was just down here. I'm thinking in my head, I'm sure the Purdue game is going to probably come up. I'm like, I wonder when it's going to come up. And as soon as I said that, you guys went into it right away. I'm like, man, they're jumping off the start off with this Purdue stuff, man. And here's the thing. I don't know how many times can these guys be confused with these teams that come. That's the thing that I always laughed at. When I used to train athletes, all these high school athletes coming out. Oh, I do Division II. No way, dude. No way. And I'm thinking, I said, listen, man. I said, any athlete, any kid that plays college sports, whether that's Division III, NAIA, JUCO, Division I, all of the different conference prestige in those different divisions, those guys are some of the world's best athletes. So when you get on that game film or on that field, those guys maybe just didn't meet the height requirement, right? Maybe they were a Prop 48. Maybe they had some issues or something. They didn't have a coach that recruited them. How do you take anyone for granted that's playing you on that level? I mean, especially a team like Purdue, and 3 years being out with a team that this year was 16th seed. Last year I think was 12. The other one was 15, and then now
13, 15, and 16.
What was it?
13, 15, and 16.
Yeah, I was just finally licking. I think my wounds were finally healed from the LSU Purdue bowl game, which they almost set a record with the second largest loss margin in a bowl game. So postseason, when the national spotlight's on you, that's when the cream rises to the top, right? It's like these guys. Sometimes these athletes think that I had a great quarter, or I had a great half, or it's like you have to have a great year. You know what I mean? I mean, we're talking about right now. I think you made a comment. This is what have you done for me lately?
Of course,
not just in football, but it's like you have to have a short memory, good or bad. Like, hey, you go down to sit down, and your coach is, hey, we got to go out there, we got to go, and we got to get another interception. It's like, I just got one. Yeah, but that was that last play. We need you to do it again. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, they won the Big Ten championship. They were ranked number 1. They won the Big Ten tournament. That stuff's all nice and it looks good in the trophy rooms and for recruiting. But at the end of the day, the only thing that matters, man, is that March in the March games. You know what I mean? So it was. So we got back from Florida, and we taped the games because it takes us about 7 hours to watch a game with all my kids running through everywhere. You know what I mean? And the dogs and whatever, right? And we're just starting to watch it, and my phone's just blowing up. My wife's phone's blowing up, and my oldest daughter, who's 14, her phone's blowing up, and I'm going, people usually don't call me when Purdue wins like that. I'm thinking, they're the guys this year. They're that number 1 seed that goes and loses. And again, these guys had their tallest player was 6'6". Sorry, I kind of took over the show there, man.
No, not at all.
That's fine. I just want.
I love the Jordan jersey, man. It looks good, bro.
Well, it's not a Jordan jersey. It's
it is
Charlotte Hornets' new 3rd jersey, and
there's a guy with his legs spread right there on your neck.
Well, all the jerseys now have the Michael Jordan symbol on it.
Is he the whole NBA now?
I guess so. He's making enough money off his sneakers. I think he's making like 37 million a year. The guy hasn't played basketball in like 20 years.
And he makes like $500,000 a day.
Yeah.
Well, I saw a preview for that new show coming out too with Matt Damon and
yes. Looking forward to that.
Yep. Yeah, the guys that made the shoe. But so anyways, guys, yeah. So I'm like, I wonder how long into this show. We'll probably talk about some other stuff. And then you started off with the number 1 side. I'm going, here we go.
Oh, I will say this,
Stuart. In my defense, I want to say this too. I did bring up Kansas first, though.
All right, do not bring up Kansas. Okay, I lost $80 on betting that team.
Here's the deal, though, guys. Here's what, and Purdue guys are kind of known for this. It's almost like what they say, 5 degrees of separation from Kevin Bacon. I think it's 5 degrees of separation from someone that played sports at Purdue, because we always there's always like this connection somewhere. So I'm the perfect guest, right? I mean, I played at Purdue. I know Matt Painter very well. So you did the right job on getting me on today, man. We can talk about everything.
Absolutely. And Stu, just so you know, this is the first time in an NCAA tournament in March Madness that a 15 and a 16 seed moved into the second round. So,
and I love it, guys. I love it. I love it because it shows you that there's not a big difference between these different levels. And if these guys still think there is, it blows my mind. And the thing that kind of upsets me is, and I love Matt Painter. There's Elliot Bloom on that staff. I have a lot of friends. They do a great job. So I've got to believe it's not the coaches that what I'm going to talk about here, but that's the coach's job to not let stuff like that happen. Not to let that lull going on there, because we've been there before. We know this is going to happen. We know if they're on there, they have a chance to beat you. And for players to take that for granted, I guess I feel like players don't realize that it's a privilege to play after high school.
Of course.
It's not your right. Okay. And the other thing that bothers me is I got to say, I don't like to watch TV very much because it's all BS anyways. But, when the games are on, they have local commercials on. And these basketball players, they're on every single commercial. I'm just sitting there thinking, cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. Yeah. And then they go out there like that on national TV and lay an egg. And after the game, in the locker room, it's just...
Come on, you're a professional athlete. You know what it's like to lose a big game. You sit there when they're asking you questions. You're asking these guys. Come on, Stu. When these guys come out, the press is out there and they're asking them silly questions. Well, how did you feel losing a game that you should have won? What do you think the answer should be?
Oh, well, hold on. Wait. No, I'm actually on the side of the media here because for whatever reason, these coaches get so nervous about the media and players around the media. And part of your job when you're a college coach, and no surprise, guys, these aren't finished products, right? There takes some of you influencing these kids. And in college, you are their parent. You're their surrogate. Is that correct? Surrogate father or whatever, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's one thing that made Joe Tiller so great is that he was always at it. He says, you're supplying us with a huge responsibility. I mean, this is your child that you've had in your house, and they are going, I was 5 hours away. Some kids are going, they've never left home before, and they're flying across the country. I mean, I can only imagine as a parent how that would feel. But those coaches know that we are there during those years. Football, it's very important, right? But it's such a small portion of their life. The coaches that really care about the guys and prepare them for life after football. Joe Tiller said, I will make this promise. If your son does not graduate, it's not because we didn't care about it. And his graduation rate was always like 98, 90, 97%. And these coaches come in there and they come in and they roll up there and they just act like they invented the sport. And then I go, well, maybe, I'll give this guy the benefit of the doubt, and I'll go and I'll do my research on the guy. And I'm going, I know you have to have confidence. You got to believe in your system, but this guy's kind of acting like he hasn't done anything, not even as a player or an assistant coach, which you don't have to, you do not have to be a great player or play at the next level to coach that level. There's a lot of great Oh, hey, buddy. Hey, guys.
We got some more guys.
Say hi real quick. This is Alex. Alexander Clifford Schweigert. He's 5. And this is my little Avery down here. She's 3.5.
Hello, Alex and Avery. How are you?
Say hi, guys.
Hi.
Hey, can you, what do you need? Okay. My wife's working out right now, so I'm at daddy daycare here. If you can go up there, Emma will fix the show for you, okay?
By the way, we are talking to former Raiders and Lions safety Stuart Schweigert. He's a friend of the show. Good man, good father, fantastic father. I'm blowing your head up here.
Hey, thank you.
And has a tremendous football story. So before we get more back into the NCAA,
yeah, no, I kind of went down a rabbit hole there because again, these it's just these guys, these kids walk around campus like they've done something, and I'm like, dude, you guys, like, who's blowing the smoke? Who's blowing the smoke up your rear end? And all that does, guys, is set you up for what happened. That is all it does.
Well, March Madness has been the talk of a lot of different shows throughout the week, but there's a lot of things going on in football. It is free agency, trade talks, the Jets, and Aaron Rodgers. Before we get into the whole Jet thing, let's talk about the Raiders, your former team. They decided to part ways with Derek Carr. They thought that they could trade him. He didn't want to be traded. He wanted to go out there and talk to a bunch of different teams. He decided after the Jets thought of him as the second guy to move on from the Jets because it seemed like he was going to the Jets. That's where he wanted to go. But the Jets always had their eyes set on Aaron Rodgers. He goes and he decides he goes to the Saints. And then all of a sudden, Jimmy Garoppolo is the new quarterback. Jimmy G. What did you think about the move? Obviously, deciding to part ways with Derek Carr and then bringing in Jimmy G. We know Adams didn't like it.
Well, here's the deal. I just want to give a little background story, okay? I'm a Raider, right? I played for the Lions and Redskins and Giants, and the Lions are my team growing up, and I have a lot of respect for the Lions. I'll put on my Lions gear sometimes, but I'm a Raider, and that's my team, man. Just like Purdue is. And you are probably, I want the best for those guys, for those kids, really, they're kids, right? And sometimes when you get emotional and you look at it and people think that you're being disrespectful, and that's the society we live in, right? Constructive criticism to somebody nowadays is you belittling them. And it's like, no, there were times I wish I had somebody that would have took me, and I've had those conversations and they're a little uncomfortable at times. But those are the conversations that make you better, right? And with Carr, the guy's there for, and he's a great guy, and he goes to church, and he doesn't swear, and he's a family man, and those guys always made me nervous. like the guys that don't you don't know what their vice is, if that makes any sense.
Yes.
You know, I'm a guy, I like to stir it up a little bit. I want my players to have a little bit of, you know, a little come in there with a what's the term on their shoulder? A chip on their shoulder, right?
Yep.
And you know, with Carr, here he is. He says, I love the team. I've grown up here. That Raider organization has given him so, I mean, I don't know any other situation where you have a 10-year quarterback getting paid as a top 5 sometimes quarterback has never won a playoff game, guys.
Well, that's not his fault.
Never won a playoff game.
But he did win a playoff game. He got screwed 2 years ago.
When did he win?
Well, he should have beaten the Bengals if it wasn't for the bad reffing.
Whoa. Did you just say shoulda, woulda, coulda?
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that, Stu.
No, but
I knew it.
No, but my whole point of that is, and I want to like all the guys on the team. I do.
I got you.
I really do. I want those guys. I want those guys to do well. But again, you look at everything they gave him. Okay, everything, and the backing behind him, and I just kept thinking, like, I wish I had the coaches and the fans gave me the benefit of the doubt. It's like, as soon as you weren't doing well, this guy made it through different staffs, and I'm thinking, why? And then the first time the Raiders ever just say, hey, you know, let's take these next 2 weeks off here. Well, let's kind of revamp. What does this guy do? He's still under contract.
Mm-hmm.
He's this great leader, right? He has a young player underneath him going to get his first start. He should be there on the sideline cheering his teammates on that he loves so much, right? Guy's not even at the stadium. He's gone. He's not even there. What if Stidham gets hurt? Carr's right back in the next series.
But that's not his fault. Josh McDaniels didn't want him on the sidelines. Josh didn't want him there.
Says who?
McDaniels. Because McDaniels, we all know what
he is. Show me a quote. Show me somewhere where he said, I do not want Carr on the sideline.
That you probably got me. I don't know.
I'm saying as a player, here's a guy, regardless of your deal with, and that's the thing, it's not like they were screwing him. I mean, they're paying this guy big time money for big time numbers and results, and we're not getting it. But, you know, oh God, what was I just? Okay, so with him, I'm sitting here thinking, it's about you and your teammates.
Right.
It's about you. Forget the coaches. How about this? How about your fans? Let's say this. Let's say that, because here's fans. It costs a lot of money to go to these games, correct, guys? It costs a lot of money.
Of course, yes.
Let's say this. Let's say some guy saved for 3 years. I'm going to save up, and him and his son get to take this trip out to Vegas. He's booked it last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
He books it for the last game of the year. His son loves Derek Carr, loves him, wants to go there and see Derek Carr, be in the same building as someone like that, breathe the same air, right?
Mm-hmm.
Derek Carr, he's not even there. And you got to think about the sacrifice that this fan made to come and support you. And and you're making all of this money, and when something just kind of rubs you just a little bit the wrong way, you go there and you have your brothers, you know, getting in a huddle, and they're just sitting here, you know, again, blowing smoke up each other's butts. And it's like, I could see if there was, you know, he's not getting what he deserves, but we're not getting what we should get back.
Stu, and I know Speedy has a lot of questions to ask you, but Stu, by the way, we are talking to former Raiders and Lions safety Stuart Schweigert, and I love his enthusiasm, I love his craziness, but I will tell you this, Stu, everywhere Josh McDaniels has gone, you go look at the Broncos, 2 years he was gone. He brings in Tim Tebow, didn't work. He brought in this guy, didn't work. The whole team practically gave up on him. Now you see him go over there with the Raiders. How long has he been there? What was that? Last year was his first year. They added Adams. They gave a lot of money.
About 12. It's about almost exactly a year.
Yes. And then all of a sudden he doesn't. Waller's not hurt. I mean, not playing because he's hurt. And then Renfro, he doesn't play at all, even when he was healthy. He decided to just part ways with the better players that they brought, and they moved to this team with John Gruden. All of a sudden, gave up on Waller. Didn't throw him the ball. Gave up on Renfro. Didn't throw him the ball. And to me, that has a lot to do with coaching. How long is it going to take Davis to decide, you know what, Josh McDaniels isn't the guy? Because it doesn't seem like he is. He brings in Jimmy G. How long is it going to take? What is it going to take? 5-6 weeks before everybody boos him off the field? And then they say, you know what? It's not the quarterback. It's Josh McDaniels.
You bring up very valid points. And unfortunately, the deal is, and I don't know if I have enough. I don't know if there's enough hours in the day for me to talk about Waller or not, because that guy, the decisions that he made, and see, here's the thing for me. I look at things from a different perspective. I like players. Not obviously, I like great players. I love watching guys that give it all. Right, guys who are great teammates, like Calvin Johnson. Here, Calvin Johnson's a guy he's. And I say this: there's about 5% of the NFL that makes 95% of the money.
Right.
That 5% is about the 100 players that people know by name, the ones that you see the big contracts. Right. Those guys, regardless of wherever they're going to go, they're probably going to be successful.
Of course.
They're like, I call those the 1%ers of the 1%ers, right? You know, it's 1% of high school athletes play. Well, these guys, they're at a different level, and sometimes they can do things differently. But a guy like Calvin Johnson, who's a 1%, he was at every summer workout, not only there, but he was winning every drill. That's a guy that I'm like, that's a great teammate. Not because the guy scores a million touchdowns. It's your character. How are you when no one else is looking? That's what I look at. And again, I go back to last year in our reunion. The Raiders. I got to give a shout out to Mark Davis and the alumni staff. They do a phenomenal job. But we go back and it's a great weekend. We go to the game again. Here's Waller. He's under contract. Not only that, he's hurt. I'm thinking, when you're hurt in the NFL, it's like you feel it's the worst feeling you can have. And I can't believe someone has the goal, if that's even correct, the goal to, while they're hurt, sit there and complain about, I need a new contract. And I'm sitting here, he's not playing, and then he does not go to he doesn't go to that game, the game against New England, the preseason game that we were at.
Right.
Do you know where he was at?
I have no idea. Where was
he? Was across the street watching his girlfriend play for the Las Vegas, whatever the WNBA team is. And no one said anything about it. And I'm going, he just doesn't show up to a game while you're under contract.
That has something to do with coaching. Because if you had somewhat of a coach that's going to go out there, it's mandatory to be there no matter if you're on the field or you're not.
But here's the thing, though. I can see where a coach is going to say this. Hey, listen, I have so many other things to focus on right now. I don't want this to be an issue. You know what? I understand that we're in the times that we are, and players have a lot more power than they should. Right. And they don't have anyone telling them to sit down and at least just be a respectful player.
LeBron James Act.
I was very fortunate. You know, when I was a rookie, I had Warren Sapp, Ray Buchanan, Philip Buchanan, Charles Woodson, along with guys like Jim Otto and Fred Biletnikoff, Willie Brown in the building, right? So those guys, I had great examples of if we were doing some stuff, that's not how a professional athlete acts or does things. And some of these guys, they don't have those veteran players teaching them how to be. And I'm sitting here and I called, and I was amazed that nobody around the organization, as far as players or current wise, was being like, yeah, it's messed up that he doesn't show up for the game. He could be there on the sideline coaching his tight ends, sitting there with Carr, visualizing, hey, in 2 weeks when we play Baltimore, I see, hey, what do you think about this? You know what I'm saying? Like, working on his craft. And also, preseason game, that might be the only game a fan could come. And if you're not going to play, he should be, especially a preseason game, taking pictures, signing autographs, doing what you're supposed to do as a professional. Instead, he's over pouting because he wants a new contract while he's hurt. And the year before, he had a very, very, very subpar season, yet he's saying he's the best player in the NFL. I think he was more focused on his tattoos, his rapping, and getting with whatever plum from the Las Vegas, the WNBA team. So I was glad he's gone. Those are type of guys that you sit there and they tell you how much they love it and how much it means to them. And I understand we're our own individual entities, right?
Right.
If you're not taking care of yourself the best, no one else is going to do it better than that. But these guys, they don't care. It's about me. Like you said, I loved it when I pulled up the thing. You talk about Aaron Rodgers. It's always about Aaron. Mm-hmm. It always comes back to Aaron. And it's just, I wouldn't like. I couldn't be around those type of people. You know what I mean? Like those type of people, because it just shows the level of, and then they sit there, and I wouldn't mind it if that's how they lived always. Like, hey, just so you know, that guy's, I know where he stands. I'm not going to call him if I need to move my house or if I need, he's about him, but he's always like that. But then these guys are up there preaching about family and trust and all this stuff, and they don't care. They don't care. And that's the part of the football. It's the relationships you build with your teammates, and that type of stuff wouldn't fly. And last comment on Carr, the Raiders there's a certain standard of how you conduct yourself in the NFL. As an NFL player, there is a certain persona that you have when you sign there. You are carrying the reputation of everyone who's ever played in that league. Okay, it's a tough guy league. It's a league built on blue collar guys that are guys you wouldn't want to meet in a dark hallway, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, there's a different, even more kind of cavalier or maybe more outlaw when you're with the Raiders. Okay, I'm a very emotional guy. I cry all the time. But as the face and the leader and of an organization, as Derek Carr, to go on a post-game interview and sit up there with a pouty lip and pout and cry, and what he was crying about was nothing to do with it. It didn't make any sense to me, and I'm going, you can't do that, man. That looks bad. You're the face of our. If I'm another guy on one of the other teams, he's up there crying, dude. What the heck? Again, nothing against emotion, but you're a professional. You can't show that. That's showing crack in the armor, man. That's showing a little bit of like, I don't know if I want to, I'm buying into what this guy's selling or whatever. And I'm seeing that. I'm just going, you know what? And the other thing is Derek will 90% of the time he's making great throws, but those 10%, you're like, what was that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was that? So I'm excited about Jimmy G. As far as the coaching goes, that's the way it goes. These guys, they want to come in and they want to completely gut and get rid of anything that had to do with anybody else. These coaches' egos are so enormous. It is again, it's not about you, right? It's about everybody. Like the referees. These goddamn referees, they think people are out there watching them. You know what I mean?
I wanted to ask you about the rest of the division. The Broncos made a splashy move in the offseason with Sean Payton, Russell Wilson. The Chargers, they looked like they were a flashy team last year, and now they might trade Austin Eckler. They cut Keenan Allen. So what are your expectations for the Raiders and the rest of this division?
Well, you know what? So you talk about last year, going into last year. I mean, I'm looking at the AFC West, and I'm like, holy smokes. I'm going, the AFC West is one of the toughest. I mean, you look at the guys that were coming in and the competition and the records we had before and the talent. And I did like the fact that, I mean, we were in every game. We were in every game. And that was the other thing. The first 6 weeks of the season, we're in every game. And the reason that we were not winning those games, when it came down to our guy against their guy, right? They're our superstar against their superstar. The guys that, here's the deal, the more money you make, the more that's expected of you, right? The first game, Derek Carr throws 3 interceptions as our golden star captain. That's on him. We lost that game by 3 points or something.
Mm-hmm.
And the next week we go in and we have Crosby miss a sack. We have another play happen, which we lose. At the point of where our main guy makes that play, we win. If he doesn't, we lose. He doesn't. Then you have Renfro drop 2 balls, right? Then you have Renfro run into Devontae Adams. I'm going, dude, when it comes down to it, the guys who are giving all the money to make these plays, they're not doing it. So now, as a younger guy, who has the respect to go up and actually stand up in front of a team meeting? Because if those guys were to stand up there, I'm going to go, well, actually, if I remember correctly, I think some of the plays that you made is why we lost.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I'm going to really buy with what you're saying because it ain't working so far.
Maybe Derek Carr did that. Maybe that's the reason why he didn't want to play anymore, because he was the one that spoke and took shots at Josh McDaniels off the field. I just think Josh McDaniels is a great offensive coordinator. He's not a good coach, and he has shown that. He has shown that. We've seen it. Look, Nathaniel Hackett, he's a great offensive coordinator. He's just not a great coach.
There are a lot of guys like that. There are a lot, but at that level, you're talking. It's the best of the best of the best of a profession. I mean, that's the mecca. I remember when I came into the NFL, I'm thinking, I'm gonna be around some of the most successful, good, team-oriented people because otherwise that the thing wouldn't work, right? I couldn't believe how many yahoos are up there.
Yeah.
I'm going like, oh, you're the guy that's running this? So when you talk about these coaches coming in that shouldn't be head coaches, that's terrible front office work. That guy's not doing their research, or they're in a position there, but they've never been around a football environment saying, yeah, I like this guy, but he's not right for us.
Right.
Or they have a guy who is, again, blowing smoke up their butt, and they don't have enough football knowledge to formulate their own opinion. So they're scared to death to do something against the grain because they don't have the confidence to make those calls. So they just follow suit, and they're listening to people when they're supposed to be the guys that are telling everyone else, shut the hell up. This is what we're going to do, and this is why we're doing it.
Well, the best player is supposed to go out there and speak for the team. Derek Carr maybe spoke for the team, and he didn't like it, and that's why Derek Carr is no longer on the team. By the way, we are talking to former Raiders and Lions safety Stuart Schweigert, friend of the show. We're a big fan of him.
Yeah, man.
He does.
I apologize the last time I wasn't able to come on, guys.
It's all right, man. We know that obviously you have a family and you have a life, and we know that.
Very sorry.
I am so glad. No, I'm so glad that I gave you my wife's number.
Yes,
I am so glad because I what I do is I'm a stay-at-home dad of 4. I do all the cooking, the cleaning, and all that stuff. I'm on.
Mr. Mom.
I love it, dude. I absolutely love it, dude. And I'm in a good routine of while the kids are at school, I'm cleaning and I'm working out and stuff, and I like to take an Epsom salt bath when I'm done. I'm getting up there in age, guys. So it's my little Zen moment, right? Well, I'll go through periods where I can't sleep. I'll go sometimes for days, where I just don't.
I have sleep apnea. I know all about that.
I do too. Yes, I do. I do too. So I hadn't been. So what happens with me is instead of sitting in bed and counting the holes in the ceiling, I'll just get up, right? I'll just get up, right? So I was up for quite a while, and I laid down for a second just to cool. So when I get out of the tub, I'm sweating, so I sit next to a fan or whatnot. Well, anyways, all of a sudden my wife comes in and says, "Hey, Stu, I got a message," and I was like, like when you get up and you see the clock and there's 5 minutes before you're going to be late, so there's really no time for you to do anything. Of course, yes. I'm like, oh. And I looked and I'm like, oh, thank God I put that fail safe in there, because otherwise I might have made you guys a little upset today. So
we're not.
I'm glad that. So what I want to say is you guys are in that a circle of trust for me if you got my wife's cell phone number, man. So
we really appreciate you, and we know that you're a busy guy. So we're really happy that you're joining us tonight, as always, as everybody knows.
And I love talking about this stuff right here. This is the stuff that you're going to get a totally different perspective from me, because I know those guys personally, right?
Right.
And unfortunately, you guys are going off of the most experience you can go, but sometimes you have to go off the credibility of someone else who are saying they've been there and know,
right.
And you trust that they're getting their information from a firsthand source, or they're getting it from themselves. So I get it sometimes. That's why I like to say, no, man, like I try to be as open and honest as I can. Like if I'm telling you a dude is good, he's going to be good. And that's another thing is it's hard sometimes for players. Well, actually, no, I want to ask you guys this.
Mm-hmm.
The way that the players are now, I don't know. Again, I don't know if they have that little bit of, because when you're playing in the football league back when I played, you had to have a little bit of a screw loose saying, I'm out there to try to destroy everybody.
Right.
Because as soon as
there's certain positions now, I think, that are all trash talkers like that, and like
that's not true.
No, what I was going to say is guys now, they're too buddy with each other.
Yes,
the
NBA,
yeah, very much.
They're too buddy. Like, I mean, trade in jerseys. I mean, I'm thinking, hey, if that's my twin brother, and we're playing in a game and we lose,
mm-hmm.
like I'm going to come up and, hey, hey, good game. But I'm not going to sit there and have a high school reunion with the
Kelsey
guys.
brothers, the Kelsey brothers. Yep.
You know what I mean? And then I want to ask you guys this too. When you talk about the media, and what I was going to say about the media is the media nowadays. I'm thinking that these guys are thinking these are dumb questions or rude questions. The media is so polite to these guys and so accommodating, and so like I'm thinking back in the day, like those guys would get it to you if you messed up, you're going to get it right, and that's what you should do.
Right
after that Kansas City Cleveland game, when that defensive end runs out and makes the dumbest play you could ever make. I don't care if that guy's a rookie. This is 30 weeks into the season. You're not a rookie anymore, right? You're on the sideline, and you know you can't touch these quarterbacks. You have the guy who has the NFL on his back, and you're even going to come close. And it wasn't even close. I mean, he was out of bounds by a mile. And then after the game, he has his teammate kind of next to him, like a bodyguard, and he's over here like, I'm thinking, if that were me, I'd say, hey, I don't need you to speak for me, guy. I'm a grown man. I can speak for myself. And he's sitting there telling them, hey, just first of all, no stupid questions. Guy, listen. That's their job. They got to go there, and they have to ask questions.
And you want to know something, and Stu, you want to know something that really throws me off about that is I have an agent, and I have people telling me, when you interview these guys, you have to be straightforward with them. You have to ask questions that obviously other guys don't ask. So you have to dig deep, and you have to figure out how you're going to dig deep and figure out how you're going to get under the skin, because it makes it a story. If I ask him a silly question and it pisses him off, is that not going to go on ESPN? Is that not going to go on CBS or NBC for the talk of what I asked him and what I?
Unfortunately, though, you guys in media, they put you in a position to where now some guys think that's the only way they can get recognition is with these stupid hot takes, right?
Right.
And that's not right. I mean, here's the deal. When I remember there was a play, if I made a bad play, right away I'm going, oh, I know, God, I'm gonna have to explain that to the media. You know what I'm saying? Like, if there was this play and you don't ask this question, your boss is gonna go, what are you doing? What the hell are you doing? You have this guy's full attention, the guy who did it. You're not gonna ask him what happened during that play. And I learned at an early age, be cool with the media. They're good. They're sports people. They're fans of yours. They want you guys to win just as bad as you want to win, right? So I always I was always the guy that was with the media, because the more you're in front of the media, the more people are reading your name in the paper, the more they're seeing your face after post-game interviews. Those people don't care who you are or if you even are good at football. But they're thinking, well, if this guy's getting interviewed, he must be one of the top players. Perception is reality. And those media, those reporters and stuff, if they like you, they're going to be a little easier on you if you screw up. You know what I'm saying? And they're also going to be probably a little more boastful on you when you have a good game. But if they don't like you, and again, it has nothing to do with treating it. It's about respecting a human being. But again, I'm looking at these guys, and you are a grown man in the NFL making a lot of money, and doing interviews after the game and conducting yourself as a professional is part of it. You don't cry up there. You don't pout. You hold yourself up there. You have all these people looking at you, and you are representing every guy that's ever been in that league, and you're making us look bad. I just could not. I'm just thinking of. I always just picture Warren Sapp. I can only imagine like what Warren Sapp, Derek Burgess, Danny Clark, Charles Woodson, and Willie Brown. If they're out there doing that, they're going to call that guy and say, "Hey, son, you can't do that. You can't do that out there. What's that? You're making us look bad, son. What?" He would get destroyed. And then after the game too, like with the D line tackle protecting that DN.
Yeah.
No, they're like this. No, hey. That's your bed. You got to go lie in it now. You got to go explain why you made a stupid error that lost us this game. Now, again, there's plays all throughout the game.
Yeah.
But that play was a stupid, selfish.
Yeah, but Stu, and I will say this. It was a stupid play. It was at the end of the game. And I understand the referees have to do their job. but the referees didn't have to call that. I mean, putting them in
No,
field
you're
position,
right.
they
No,
could have left that alone.
You're
Just
right.
play the game. That's the problem with the NFL. These referees make
yes.
silly calls in big games and then in the small games they don't make the call, and then you're wondering where the call is.
Because you know what?
Yeah.
Again, they think that people are there to see them. That's why you see these guys now. They look like freaking bodybuilders and stuff.
Some
They
of the
wear
referees do,
too tight,
yeah.
too small.
There you go.
All eyes are on him, right? He wants to get out there and he wants to be the guy that's deciding the game. It's like, as a referee, you are there to make sure that those guys don't kill each other. They don't do anything like after the, make sure, if it's something blatant, but do not dictate the outcome of those games. And that's what they're doing.
There was
you're absolutely, I 100% agree with you that you don't have to call that right. And here's the other thing. I'm going back watching some of our old games, and you look at it, and people say that the NFL is rigged, it's scripted or whatnot.
It could be.
Well, let me say this. So, Arian Foster was on some show, and that guy needs to stop.
Barstool. Yeah.
He needs to stop talking because he does not represent any of us. Okay. He talked about, we had a script. Yeah, there is a script. I have right here.
Oh, here comes the script.
I don't want to pull it up, but I have a script.
Everyone needs the evidence, Stu.
He's going.
He's going
He's
again.
running. Hey, that's the most exercise he's done.
Oh, no.
Oh, he did a hurdle jump over there, over the couch.
Oh, I was already fell for a second. I just wanted to say there was a college baseball coach that actually had like the worst strike 3 call ever, and it was like probably about a foot, 2 feet out of the zone to end the game in a college baseball game, and it was just really sad.
We are talking former Raiders and Lions safety Stuart Schweiger.
All right, what do we got here, Stu?
That's a script. Okay, that's all our defensive calls. That's our play script.
Mhm.
We go off of this, right? Like, and the offense, what they do is they usually start a game with a 20-play script. So during the week, they're practicing those 20 plays. This is kind of the formation we want to highlight. And what they do is, regardless of what the defense does, let's run through these 20 plays.
Catch your breath, Stu. Catch your breath.
See how I was on vacation, so they go through that script and they say, okay, are we going to continue with this script? Are these plays working, or are we going to make an adjustment? He made it seem like there's a movie script. Oh yeah, they'd come in and tell me, during week 3 you're going to sprain your ankle. During week 9 you're doing this, and they're going to win this game. No, there's nothing like when it comes to the players. There's not going to be one guy for the amount of time, the amount of effort, the sacrifice to make it up to that level, to play in front of millions of people with your reputation and you have to think that you're the best out there to play at that level. Okay, some guys go into it a little bit more than they should, but you have to have confidence. There's not one player that's going to say, "Hey, let this receiver beat you." Miss this tackle, or tell a quarterback, "Hey, you got to throw a pick down here."
So
it's going to happen.
So, Stuart, last time we had you on the show, but by the way, before I get to my question, I'm very sorry for the loss of your friend as well.
Yes,
I know
we all are. May rest in peace, by the way.
I wanted to mention the last time we had you on the show, the clip I made for you after our show that we put a post on our network was actually retweeted by one of your Purdue teammates, and then we had him on the show the next week, and unfortunately passing away in Uche Nwaneri. So, what is your best memories of him, and what was he like?
Uche. So Uche was a lineman from Texas. He was I think he was a true freshman when I was a senior.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe he may have, I don't think he was, I think he was a red shirt. So I don't think he ever got on the field with me. Had a great, phenomenal NFL career. And again, it's because some of these little guys, like also Dustin Keller, remember Dustin? I mean, you guys know Dustin Keller. Yeah. He was the same age as Uche. So I just see those guys as, just little dudes. And when you go off to the NFL, you're kind of in your own deal. So all of a sudden, like, when I had time to look, I'm like, holy crap! Like these little, like I had no idea that these guys are like growing up and getting into Pro Bowls and stuff like that. And me and Uche, probably like 2 years ago, reconnected our friendship. I mean, because again, I mean, I was kind of on my way out, and he was a young guy, so we didn't have a whole lot of interaction.
Yeah.
But his wife is getting her master's degree here. And so he was in Atlanta. His wife and his 2 daughters were living up here while she was going back to school. So he hit me up, and we had a pretty good relationship. And to be honest with you, the last probably 2 years, he was probably one of 4 friends that I spoke to on a regular basis. And whenever he came in town, he'd call me. And that's one of the reasons I moved back here was so when guys came back, hey, hit me up, you know? And he did it every time. And the one funny, and he was a big time gamer, loved video games.
He mentioned that when we had him on. So
I'm actually I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to. I was like a Mortal Kombat guy. I knew all the codes, the fatalities, and all that stuff. I loved all of the EA games and that stuff. So at Purdue, it was my senior year, and when the regular students leave, we were playing in the Capital One Bowl against Georgia. Campus is dead. I mean, it's basically just us there. And it was a really bad winter that year. So it was just snow. And I can't say too many things negative about Tiller, but if I did have to say one, I think during our bowl, like we'd have like 2-a-days again for like 4 weeks, man. It was just brutal. And I think that's why his bowl record wasn't as good as it should have been. I think we were just kind of worn out.
Right.
But anyways, so we lived off campus. And I lived with Kelly Butler, offensive lineman, played for the Lions, Cleveland Browns. He's up in Winnipeg. Nico Kudavides, played for Seattle, Denver, and Patriots for a while. And another guy, Doug Swan. We lived off campus, and my buddy bought like the Mortal Kombat 2 standing video game, and it was again because no one's on campus, so we had a party, and it was just all the football players. So we brought all the young guys out and this and that, and I'm kind of running game on all of my teammates, beating them in Mortal Kombat, and Uche comes up there, and I can tell he's pretty good. You know what I mean? And we're playing or whatever, and he kind of beats me a little bit, and I beat him, and all of a sudden he starts kind of getting a little like, I think maybe getting a little liquor courage, I guess you could say.
Hockey liquor courage.
And I think he killed me and said something, and I turned around, and it was like that moment, where the whole party is going, and all of a sudden it's like, and everyone was just like this. And I just remember we got in this huge. I said, listen, I said, I don't care what you're doing, but in my house, you're not going to disrespect me and do all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And we still talk. Actually, we played Mortal Kombat a couple times when we were here, but it's for a while there, it was like about every 3 weeks I was losing somebody, man. It was ridiculous. Like, Shane Olivier a couple years ago, Marion Barber, was a friend of mine. I played against them. Some guys that were actually on offensive linemen that you guys don't know, but he passed away, and it was, and I had just spoken to him that night. I had just spoken to Uche because it was during the Christmas holidays.
Yep. Right.
And he usually sneaks over when his kids are at school, and he hadn't come over yet. And I called him, and I heard his kids running around the background. I said, just make sure, at least you come by and say hi before you leave. Mm-hmm. And he said, I will. And then that next day he fell asleep and he never woke up.
Well, we are really, really sorry for your loss. And that's, we had him on the show. We loved him. He's a great guy.
He told me he really enjoyed coming on your show. Now he has his opinions on things. Yeah. He gets he gets animated, but you brought up a point I want to say about your friend Jeremiah, because when we were at the NFL, Willie Brown, every week, Willie Brown and Fred Biletnikoff would pass a helmet around for former players who had been out of the league for a while, because we don't have health insurance, right? We don't have lifetime health insurance. So these guys, they have these, when you're young and you're out, things are all right. You don't see some of the signs of these issues till later, and by then you can't get any insurance. So we would always give money for guys to buy a wheelchair or to have home hospice or something like that. So it's nice for you to be on a platform to be able to make a difference, and hopefully your friend can get through whatever he's going through. And the fact that they don't know what it is even scarier. You know what I mean? So
lost a lot of weight, man. Like 50 pounds.
That's what
young guy too.
That's the thing though. Like for me, I wanted that big contract so that so that I had money to actually make a difference with. Like, it's like, how big does your yacht have to be? How many black cars do you need?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Ask Tom Brady that.
Like, I know this. If I would have had that chance to get to that big contract, every high school, library, elementary school, playground in Saginaw County would be the Schweigert family, whatever. You know what I mean? Because that's the thing. And to be at the level you are at, those are the decisions that you make and the things that gives me satisfaction. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm starting to realize minimizing. Like, when I started downsizing stuff, because the more stuff you have, the more maintenance is, the more expensive it is. It's just a headache.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it, I mean,
houses are absolutely, everybody keeps telling me, oh, buy a house, buy this, buy that, buy a condo. And then you have people living in New York State, being that it's a state where whoever lives in that apartment or lives in that house, they have to have at least 6 months to move out. So who's paying the rent? Who's paying the electric? Who's paying the water? I am. So why would I do that? Why would I put myself in that situation? So you're absolutely right.
So you can live, so you can make all your money, and you're basically broke.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I don't need another pair of shoes. Now it's about again giving back. And that's why I like when I look at some of these stuff in the head, and if I do want to ever get back into anything professional, which I don't, but if anything I do is going to be for my kids and for the community. Cause again, like some of these guys that I can't even watch those shows, because I'm like, that's just, it's gluttonous, man. It's rude to me. You know, it shows your character. It shows your character. Like me, I spent my money. What I enjoy doing is I didn't like jewelry. I like throwback jerseys. You know, I liked taking guys out and having like a night out. I don't mind. I like paying for service. So I'd spend my money on like taking guys out on a weekend and not sitting here trying to split the bill up and who had this and hey, did you get the onion ring? You know, like this. Like, guys, I'll just don't worry about it. I got you tonight. Just have a good time.
My friend does this to me all the time. He wants to go out to TGF Fridays. We go once a week, Thursdays before the show. We go to TGF Fridays or we go to Applebee's. These two places. And he orders all the food, okay? And I eat very little. And I split the...
And he wants to split it?
I split it with him. And you know what? He tells people that I'm the cheap one. And I say, what, are you kidding me? You buy $80, $90 worth of food. It's all your food. And I'm cheap. I'm splitting it with you. And then I decide to pay 20% in tip. And I'm not giving $10 because I'm paying half the bill because you're fat, you know what, is eating all the food. And you're attacking me that I'm cheap?
Guys, you'd be amazed. You'd be amazed at some of the conversations that are on with teammates. Like you're talking about guys that have almost hundreds of millions of dollars, and literally they're mad because you like bought an extra pop or something, and like you're sitting there going like, wait, hold on a second, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But then they'll buy a car just to throw it in a river or something to show that they can do it or something like that. You know what I mean? But it's, I just know for me like that, to sit there and constantly like, well, you should be saving money here and do this. Or hey Stu, why do you pay a CPA? I do my own investments because that way I don't have to pay anybody. And I go, well, you know what? I don't know anything about finances, right? So if I don't know anything about it and I have the money to do it, I'm going to hire the best guy to do it. And then that way I don't have to worry. Well, Stu, or this one. Hey, Stu, hey, are you worried about the market? And no, not at all. You don't care about your money. I said, when I hired him, I went through and I hired him and I said, what is it going to, why would I call him when I don't know anything about anything and question him?
Right.
It's just like this. When you hire a coach, you hire that coach, let him coach. You know what I mean? I put him in that position because I trust you. Now I might just ask some questions and say, why are you doing this? But I'm going out and I'm going to hire the best guys. Unfortunately, what you have, guys, and it's disgusting to me. It is in the front office and as coaches, they build some staffs around them of guys who are less knowledgeable than them so that they can control them. And that blows my mind because that is such more stress on you. A perfect example, and I don't know, did I tell you the example of Rod Woodson and Jack Del Rio. Did I say that?
I think you mentioned it a
Yeah,
little bit
you
last
mentioned
time.
I'm thinking, here you go. You have a coach, head coach was a linebacker, and he's sitting there nitpicking and wasting time in film study when they could be watching the opponent. And he's wasting time going back and forth with Rod Woodson about how his DB should be backpedaling. Like, I know this. I'd say if I hired Rod Woodson, I'd go, DBs, I don't even have to think of they're good. That's one less thing
Right.
that I have to worry about. And that's where things go. They want to micromanage everything. And it's, you see the same coaches, right? In the last 20 years, you kind of see the same coaches always kind of there, right? Because there's just not a lot of good ones. They're not. I could not believe that. Again, like when I'm thinking it, like when you're going to the top of the top, there's a certain expectation of what you had to do to get there, and what this person should be. This guy, you're thinking in my head like, well, he achieved something that I couldn't do. So to me, I'm thinking, holy, I'm going to be impressed with somebody. And it's like a lot of them were just guys drinking buddies.
Yeah.
Just hiring their drinking buddies, man. And they
Thank
just,
God I don't drink. So
yeah, there you go.
I don't drink. So I stay.
Well, I can tell, man, you got the big pipes. You're just doing curls all day long.
Stop.
Wearing those extra small jerseys.
Extras. This is extra and extra large, actually.
I'm sure it is.
I'm like 230, but I do. I take care of myself. I work out a lot, and I try to stay in shape. And being that,
let me tell you this, and you can probably agree with this. I bet you people look, oh man, someone that wants to get in shape, right? And they sit there and I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. But when they actually realize what it takes to be in healthy shape, and
of course,
they have no clue. They have no idea. And it's unfortunate because a lot of people don't give the respect to other people when they do stuff like that.
And I don't cheat. I don't take supplements. I don't take any of that. I do everything naturally. And the one thing is everybody, they want to point fingers because I look like I'm not natural, that I'm doing something. I have never even, when it comes to protein.
How old are you?
I'm 40.
Oh shit. Yeah. So I need to get on your program, dude. Shoot.
Any day, man. I could send you. I went to school for personal training. So anytime you want to go on a program, I can help you out, man.
But again, I mean, like, I know that's not, I mean, especially the older you get, plus you got a full-time job and then you're trying to also squeeze in those workouts and stuff like that. So it's amazing to me that and then they're like, well, if it wasn't for this, I could have made it. If it wasn't for this, it's like, well, that's part of it. That's why you didn't make it. We did stuff like that. Like I'm in this position because I didn't do the things that you wouldn't want to do. You know what I mean? So, and I'm up here.
Here's my secret, and before we let you go, here's a quick secret. You shouldn't be in the gym more than an hour.
No, you're bingo.
You shouldn't be in the gym more than an hour. You should be doing 45 minutes of working out. Give yourself 30 to 40 second intervals, doing about 4 to 5 exercises. You leave, you give yourself every other day, 24 hours to heal your muscles, make sure that you're not beating up your muscles, and let your muscles recuperate. Drink some water. I'm not a water drinker, but drink as much water as you possibly can, and make sure you do at least 250 push-ups a day. If you could do that, you're in good shape.
See, right there, what you said is if you know what you're doing, what lifts to do and how to do them correctly, you only need to do about 5, and you don't need to be, because the more you're doing, you're looking and seeing this, I like that, and there's no program there for it. I always said that too, like in and out. I've realized later on that, and this, sleep is such a huge thing with
we don't get enough of.
I know we don't. I do want to say this. I do not have any. I can let bygones be bygones on a lot of things, but one thing I do not ever give anyone credit for is if they have to take something that so at the top of the top, part of it is having that physical, that God-given deal. And if your body isn't able to be fast enough, then that's telling you, hey, it's okay. You're just not, this is as far as you're going to go.
Yeah.
And if you're going to supplement that with something unnatural to go out there and play, I look at you as the same as a wife beater and a pedophile. I mean, it's disgusting to me, because there are guys out there that don't do it, and that's what makes them special. So that I did some protein, some creatine a little bit, and Budweiser pretty much.
Budweiser.
You know what I mean?
Budweiser. You're funny, man. You're funny.
But before I let you go, I just want to say congratulations as well to your Purdue Ring of Honor Hall or Purdue Hall of Fame. Thank you about that,
dude.
Or,
So
yeah,
here's the
There it is. I like it.
so here's the deal. So there's a guy named Leroy Keys. He played in the late 60s from the East Coast, played running back for us, was runner up to the Heisman in 68, 69, was in second place to O.J. Simpson, played in the NFL, but he was back here. He would be like a Willie Brown, like a coach, but he wasn't a coach, a mentor, very close friend of mine. He passed away last year.
Sorry to hear
about
that. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. This was the first year where it was they renamed it the Leroy Keys Purdue Athletic Club Hall of Fame. And so Leroy's family was there. So to have that, and then I see so Morgan Burke was our athletic director, and he was the first one his wife got called up there. And I see this frame, and I'm looking at the frame. I'm like, oh, are we going to get some gifts? Okay, some swag or whatever. And I see this black on black Purdue varsity jacket. And I'm going,
am I getting one of those?
Yeah, I was like, or is that something special for Morgan because he passed? Was that his varsity jacket back in the day or something like that? And then all of a sudden they were giving all these out, man, and it's got the this is the Leroy Keys.
It's nice, man. It looks beautiful. Oh, I like that. Leroy.
So this is the first year that they gave these out. And then they also, this is the award that you get here. This is
oh, look at that.
It's a train spike.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And they have that when you go into the Purdue, athletic offices where all the coaches have their offices. There's like a train track, and all the former Hall of Fame have their little train spike in there. So
there's my name.
So I do want to read this, and then I'll do my last final call here. But this was a big honor for me because it was really the last kind of thing that me for myself was wanting to get.
Of course,
it took me, I'd say about 5 years ago, I had to literally have a funeral and put to rest the athlete, or Stuart Schweigert, the athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And I mourned him for 3 or 4 years, man. I had to play. It took a while to realize I'm never going to win a Super Bowl. I'm not going to make it to the NFL Hall of Fame.
I'll send you a Super Bowl trophy, okay? I'll send it to you. You can say it's a gift from me to you.
I'm never gonna get that second contract to have the Stuart Schweigert Children's Hospital, whatever. So this was now it's about passing on some knowledge to the younger guys. Actually, there's a guy, Will Rogers, right now from Saginaw, Jason Richardson's cousin. He just went to he played at Washington State, then he transferred to Temple. He had a pro day today. And having him call me and ask for advice, man, and then having him go out there and taking something I taught him and it working, that gives me more joy than any play I could make. But this was kind of the last thing I wanted for myself. And,
by the way, one of our guests, one of our fans, asked me to ask you, do you know Adam Wolf? And he's going out for a couple of beers with him tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. He was a great special teams player for us. Great special teams. But I do want to read this. So, and this is kind of what, and here's the thing too, is I saw a guy like Leroy Keys, right? Here's a guy had never seen a white person before until he came to the Midwest. And you're talking about coming, a black man coming to the Midwest to an all white school. And they had the whole stadium would shake Keys for when Leroy Keys came around. And the passion and the pride that he had for Purdue was unmatched. And I'm going, that's how they take this thing very serious. Some guys, it's like they come back to games and they're not wearing anything. Like, I'm decked out in Purdue gear, but I saw that how passionate these former guys are out there. And that actually taught me, like, hey man, that's not about you when you're out there. You can't lay a turd out there because it's not you looks bad. It's everyone that looks bad. But this little stat here was what really is kind of impressive about the league. It says Hall of Famer, 3 words defined as best, the best, and brightest. In Purdue history, there have been more than 9,250 student athletes, coaches, and administrators. Purdue's Hall of Fame consists of 175 inductees, meaning less than 2% of all Boilermakers are enriched. The class of 2022 features 8 inductees into the newly named Leroy Keys Purdue Athletic Hall of Fame.
Congratulations, my
Yeah,
friend.
man. So it was cool. And I reached out like Rod Woodson and Mike Allstott and Jeff Scanina and Jim Everett and Kyle Orton and Ryan Kerrigan and some of these guys. It was cool that they're like, welcome to the club. And, that was cool too, meeting the other 7 inductees and having my kids there. Man, it was an awesome weekend. I had a lot of family come down, and it was about a 3-day thing. And the last thing was we got introduced at the Ohio State basketball game. And afterwards, my family's it's like a Sunday, and my family's kind of milling around. I said, "Hey guys, I thank you so much for coming." But I'm like, you gotta get the hell out of here, man. I'm drained, dude. You guys just sometimes people don't know how to end the conversation.
You're getting old.
You gotta go. But yeah, dude, get me on the show sometimes again, man.
Absolutely. You guys, Stu, we're gonna get you on the show. We love you.
Did you ever speak to Kyrie? Jericho?
I tried. I never responded.
Trying to get Jericho.
I'm waiting for that, Stu.
Maybe Stu, you can help
I remembered that for you.
Stu, you can help us.
That's a guy I can't get a hold of him. I mean, I know I talk a lot. Jesus Christ, why am I forgetting his name right now? He looks like he's freaking a bodybuilder now. Why am I forgetting it? From Washington State, your safety drafted in 2004.
Your boy, Eric Coleman.
Eric Coleman, yeah.
Eric's been, first of all, me and Eric did a show on 103.9, and then Speedy actually.
I love that dude. He's a great, great dude. Great dude. So
very good dude.
Yeah. So, but hey, so this is last time it wasn't live, was it? Or what?
It was live. Yeah, it was live.
Okay. Okay, I don't remember. Were we looking at each other?
Yeah.
I don't because when you sent me the clip, it was just the audio part of it.
Yeah, the clip was the audio, but the show was live.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We tagged you in the show for the live stream too.
Oh, I know. I guess I never even looked at that.
We need to help you here, man. And if you want me to send you out a workout plan, I can help you, man. If you need,
I just do a little dumbbell thing, dude. Yeah.
I could send you some calisthenic workouts with rubber bands and stuff like that. And you don't really need to.
Dude, it's just. I think it's because of just the not sleeping so well, but maybe some of the medication I'm on. But I swear, a couple of years ago, me and my wife did keto. And I gained like 20 pounds. I haven't gotten off of it. I can't get the weight off.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you get old. I mean, I'm 230. I mean, I'm not extremely cut, but I'm in good shape. And it has a lot to do with the way you work out. You can eat whatever you want. You just got to make sure that you eat in a certain time. But I can help you.
I think the 30 beers too also.
That's
a lot of empty carbs. So if I could, if I could substitute that, but of course we want our cake eating it too. I want to be able to look good and still do what I want to do, right? Isn't that I don't need to sacrifice anything, do I? That doesn't make any sense.
No, keep eating, babe. Keep eating. Anyways, Stu, we really appreciate your time as always. We'll get you on very, very soon. Your personality really.
Well, when's the draft? The draft's coming up, right?
Soon. Why don't we bring some ex-NFL players on our draft, and we'll do our draft with some ex-NFL players. That would be really
that would. Do you guys you ever do mock drafts?
Oh, we do it all the time.
I'd like to come on and do a mock draft with you guys.
All righty, let's do it, Stu. You're in.
There's actually some. I'm telling you, there's some sleeper guys from that Purdue team.
Yeah.
I mean, Charlie Jones. I don't know the receiver.
Yes, I like him. So
did you see him? He ran a 4.44, doubled up on a 4.44. Dude, he had a phenomenal workout. Payne Durham, the tight end, is. I'm telling you, he didn't test that well, but that guy is a football player.
Maybe the Raiders will draft him to replace Waller.
I would freaking. I wanted the Raiders to get Karlaftis last year, but I know he wasn't going to be able to make it.
Yeah.
I'd love to. Oh, I do want to say this.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've said this a bunch of times here, but one of the most things I was excited about with Jimmy G, right? And I just when I saw him up there giving like that's the quarterback I want, man. Like that. There's a certain standard and a certain moxie and confidence and a attitude to when you're a Raiders quarterback. It really is, and you gotta buy into that thing, man. And it's part of
bother you that he likes to hang out with Playboy models.
Oh, that's right. Hey, and that's the thing. I said I give everybody their props, dude. Like, people want to hate on guys like, no, like they're just mad because that guy gets more girls than you, dude. That's the only reason you're hating on the guy.
Oh, he's pretty. There's no question.
But when I first knew he was coming, here's the first thing I sent Rob Ryan, because he was my D coordinator. He's there, and I talked to him quite a bit. I sent him a text message. I said, "So when can you and I take Jake? When can you and I take Jimmy G out and raise some hell?" And he's like, "Well, actually, he says, he said, see, if we went with him, he would get jealous of our game. I would hate to break the young man's spirit."
Oh, I don't know if that would happen. He'd have every single girl from every part of the room coming up to him. Can I get a picture with you? Can I get a picture with you?
You know what, though? That only gets your foot in the door. It's the guy that can make those girls laugh.
Yes.
I'm telling you what. So that was kind of their Gerard Cooper, whenever we went out, and there's always that competition a little bit. And as soon as, they go, ha, 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 you're funny, we'd go, he got him. He got her. He got her. But yeah, I thought that was cool. And I'm excited. I mean,
you
got to give him you got to give Daniels, give him some time.
Oh, stop it. Stop it. That's it. That's it. No more with the Josh McDaniels is an idiot, and you're going to watch him go down in flames this year. You're going to be looking for a new coach, and they're going to be like, damn, I mean, what Hopkins. Adams wants out. DeAndre,
looking last year, who was the guy that you would have, who was the guy that you would have thought would have a chance at the job?
What, next year?
I'm just saying like last year, who was the next best guy up, I guess? Is there someone that was better? Unfortunately, when you're in the market for new players, you're kind of.
I would have taken Doug Peterson. Look what he did for the Jaguars. I think Doug Peterson, he won a Super Bowl. It didn't work out in Philadelphia for whatever reason. Maybe it was Carson Wentz or whatever it was. But he's a good coach, and I think he's done well over there with Trevor Lawrence. I think he's going to do even more. It's going to stand out this coming year than it did last year. So he's going to do even better this year.
Speaking of Jacksonville, I remember last year when the Raiders played them, I said, we're going to lose. I know we're going to lose. Everyone's like, no, we're not going to lose to Jacksonville. I'm like, dude, that team is they have a lot of young, hungry guys. And again, to win, you got to have a guy at the helm that can do it. And that kid's a proven winner. He's a stud, dude. He is a freaking stud. And I remember when I first saw him, he had the hair, and I'm kind of, look at this dude. And then I heard they're like, Stewart, he is like one of the greatest kids you could ever meet. And like, I heard some interviews with him, and dude, he is a kid that is going to have a long career, and he's going to turn that organization around, man.
We will see.
Yeah.
Stu, we really appreciate you, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm God, you guys wouldn't shut up, dude. I couldn't get a word in.
That's what I love about you. You're just pretty straightforward.
Hey, again, you guys need anything, man, please.
Absolutely.
Please let me know. There is going to be I do want to say this. There is going to be some stuff coming up. I'm going to get a little more kind of focused on my kind of stuff I'm going to do on my social medias and stuff. And obviously, I'd always love to have you guys on and all that stuff.
Anytime.
Any way that I can, hey, Stu, do you know so-and-so? Or, hey, I saw you with this guy. Could we get let me know, man. Like I said, if I don't know somebody, I know someone who knows someone. So.
So we'll definitely use that. We really appreciate you, and we'll be in touch. We'll get you on our mock draft. That'll be fun. That'll definitely
absolutely, guys. Hey, take it easy out there, man. Be safe. Thank you very much.
You too.
Stuart Schweigert, fantastic guy, really is. An hour, and let me tell you something. That guy not only can talk, but he can hold a conversation, man. Mm-hmm. He can walk into a room. It doesn't matter who's in there. Warren Sapp, craziness. Stewart will light up that room.
He can fire anybody up. Maybe Purdue should hire him as the assistant coach. Maybe that's what they need to win a tournament game.
He's funny, man. He's really funny. But we'll definitely take him up on that offer, especially some of the people that he knows. He might know people in the industry. Maybe we can get Darren Waller on the show. Yeah. So ask Stewart if he knows anybody that can get us Darren Waller on, or maybe Jimmy G. I would love to get Jimmy G or Ryan. Why don't we get one of the Ryan brothers on?
Oh, yeah.
He's good. He's good friends with Ryan. So reach out to Stu and see what he can do for us. I really appreciate everything that he does. His personality really drives us, especially me. It motivates me to be the crazy person that I am. But Stu is fantastic.
Oh,
he
yeah.
really is.
No
He
doubt.
Really, really is. So why don't we get into back into the Jets? The Packers president, Mark Murphy, says that he is sworn to secrecy about Aaron Rodgers and still believes that the Packers have leverage. I believe that he has to say that. Mark Murphy has to say that because to me, the position that the Packers put themselves into, especially keeping Aaron Rodgers as long as they did at the end of the season, you knew you were moving on from Aaron Rodgers. You also knew that Aaron Rodgers was going to have to make a decision after he had to make a run at the darkness, okay? You knew that he was 90% sure that he was not coming back, not even to your team, but for football. Why didn't you just trade him at the end of the season? If he decides to come back or he doesn't decide to come back, you get as much as you can get back from him, and then you can move on from that contract. And they put themselves in a very bad situation now because, yes, the Jets, I believe, have the leverage. They're no question that they do. But the questions are going to come back and it's going to haunt them because with Aaron Rodgers and who Aaron Rodgers is as a player, he has been the face of the Green Bay Packers for forever. For the last 12 seasons, he's been the face. He is the franchise player. And then what you did to the kid, and I say he's a kid because he's younger than I am, what you did to him was made him feel uncomfortable at the end of the season, not giving him the information, not telling him that you don't want him to come back. You practically were throwing, words to the press, practically telling him that they want to part ways. They want to move on from Aaron Rodgers. They have Jordan Love. They want to see what Jordan Love has to offer. Maybe he is the next future quarterback for the next 10 to 12 years. Who knows? Aaron Rodgers was when Brett Favre left, a Hall of Fame, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Is Aaron Rodgers better? He believes he is. I believe he is. I don't know if everybody else does. But the Packers have done wrong to Aaron Rodgers. They did wrong to Randall Cobb. The only reason why they brought Randall Cobb back is because Aaron Rodgers was pissed off that they gave him no weapons in the offseason last year.
Yeah, they're going to bring a Randall Cobb for probably $500,000.
Christian Watson became a star. No question that he did at the end of the season. Why? Because Aaron Rodgers was throwing him the ball. Let's see what Christian Watson does this year with Jordan Love throwing him the ball. Yeah, well, Jordan Love stepped on the field against Philadelphia. That secondary, and I will say this, that secondary didn't really get put in positions to really show how talented they were last year because who did the Philadelphia Eagles beat last year? How many 500 teams did they beat last year? So we don't know how good that secondary was. On paper with Darius Slay and obviously Bradbury and Johnson, there were a lot of good players on that secondary. There was. But who did they play against? What wide receivers that they had to defend against?
It was also garbage time for the Packers, too.
No
They were
question.
down by 21, I think, in that game. So on coverage, they were playing a lot of cover 3, cover 4. So that's what Jordan Love had to take advantage of. Give him credit. He read the defense well, I guess, but it's still kind of garbage time.
Murphy hinted at Packers being fully on board with Jordan Love, regardless of how Rodgers' trade happens. Packers and Jets have been in a standoff of trade value, leading to debates on who has the leverage. Some reports believe that Corey Davis is expected to be part of the trade that will the Jets and shed obviously money that would say Corey Davis involved with involved with a couple of picks. The Jets were one of the 4 teams attending the workouts for Odell Beckham Jr., who was nearly a Packer 2 years ago, having wanted to play with Aaron Rodgers for years. Rodgers said he is committed to playing. So if he isn't traded, it would be about $60 million in payment from the Packers. Loose deadline to make this trade is the day of the NFL draft, which is April 27th, in order to include the draft picks from this season. So it's so very interesting. And listen, I don't know what Mark Murphy is thinking. And obviously, he is not going to give any information. He's sworn to secrecy. There's no secret to this story. There's nothing. The Jets made the trade for Elijah Moore today and adding a second pick because they're planning to trade one of those second picks for Aaron Rodgers. They do not believe he's worth a first-round draft pick because of the leverage that they hold. And now that Aaron Rodgers has come out and said that he wants to play for the Jets and there's nobody else out there and they don't want to trade within the conference, it really puts them in a standoff against themselves.
And that's the problem, where you don't trade him last year for one when they had the most value possible, and they could have gotten 2 first-round picks, maybe 3. Looking at the Russell Wilson trade, you could have compared that. He had a much better season than Russell Wilson. So if you really cared about the value and the leverage that much, you should have traded him then. Maybe you had leeway to trade him in the NFC at that point. And now you go this offseason in what was a statistical down year. Granted, yeah, not all his fault. The offensive line was hurt. All the receivers were rookies. Fine. Teams are still going to perceive it that way to some extent, where you're not going to get that kind of value. And he was lucky if you're going to get 1 first-round pick for Aaron Rodgers at the start of it. Now you say, all right, I don't want to trade him in the NFC. Oh, look, all the NFC South teams need quarterbacks. That could have been a good market to trade for. The Saints, the Buccaneers, whatever. No, I'm going to throw that away. Maybe you trade him to where he wanted to play, the 49ers. You don't want to help an organization that's beating you in the playoffs? Fine. That's your own fault. Now you're going to have to settle for having to trade for a 2 and a 3 probably, and maybe spread out across
maybe
3
a
years
2 and
of
a
draft
4.
picks. Yeah.
Maybe 2 and a 4. I don't know if they're going to give up 3 years worth of draft picks. I could see, depending on what Aaron Rodgers does to the Jets in the first year, they could turn a 3 or a 4 next year into a 2 or maybe a 1. I don't think the Jets are willing to give up their first pick even next year. I don't think they think, because Aaron Rodgers is 39 years old and you don't know if he's going to play multiple years. As he said with Brandon Marshall, he believes that if he is going to play this year, he plans, if he plays for another organization, he wants to play multiple years, which means 2 years. So I expect Aaron Rodgers for the next 2 years to be a New York Jet whenever this trade goes through. And that's why the Jets are, I know Jeff was attacking my thoughts on Hardman. Hardman won't be there next year. If Hardman has a fantastic year with Aaron Rodgers and shows that they have obviously a good game together, and they have, what do they call it? Camaraderie together with one another. Yeah, I could see a guy like Hardman getting a contract extension. I just don't know where the Jets are as far as the compensation is with the Packers. Now, I do believe the Jets are going to eventually get what they want. They can't bite. They cannot give the Packers what they want, because the Packers know that the Jets could sit here for the next month, really, and have a staring contest with them. They don't need to make any moves, because the Packers know they need to get that $60 million off their cap. And they have to obviously make this trade before the draft, because they want to get those picks so they can obviously build their team with Jordan Love. They don't have any weapons going into next season. Like I said, they have Dobbs and obviously Watson. And they don't even know if Dobbs is the guy, the second guy.
And again, who says this isn't going to make Jordan Love disgruntled too? If you're going to have them wait and wait and wait forever to trade him, and then all of a sudden you lose out in free agency, you lose your $60 million. If they have to stall and keep Rodgers and then have to pay him that bonus, if they don't get him out of there by June, like if they continue to just be petty with this, who says Jordan Love is going to be happy? And then he's gone the next year too if they don't give him the 5th year option. So
yeah, and they are giving Jordan Love the 5th year option. They want to see the consistency that he has as the starting quarterback this year. I expect to see a lot of talent and show that his arm strength is where they believed he was when they drafted and they moved back into the first round to get him. Okay. I think Jordan Love is a good quarterback. I think moving forward, the Packers are put in a very good position. They have never had a problem finding a quarterback. Never. They've had a tremendous amount of Hall of Famers that played at that position. They had Starr, they had Favre, they had Rodgers, and now it could be the next one, aboard the train is a guy named Jordan Love. So I'm interested to see what the Packers do and how this falls together. We all know where Rodgers is going. It makes a lot of sense now what the Jets are trying to do. And is OBJ the next guy on top of this roster going in for the move for the New York Jets to make in the offseason, the big move for the Jets to make. I don't want OBJ. If you're a Jet fan, you can't sit here and tell me that OBJ is good for the Jets. He creates a lot of havoc in the locker room. He's going to demand the ball. If he's only seeing the ball 30 or 40 times a year, when you have Garrett Wilson, who is their number one target, and then bringing in Hardman, and who is going to want an extended contract at the end of the year from somebody else, and then you have Alan Lazard, another guy that's going to expect the ball at least 40, 50 times, and they expect to spread out the wealth. Conklin there. They have weapons, and they're going to run the ball. They're a run-first team no matter what. Even with Aaron Rodgers, they're going to run the ball with Breece Hall, Michael Carter, and obviously, Knight. They have weapons all over the field. So you sit here, and I don't care what the president is saying for this organization. They know the position that they're in, and they know that they have to make this move more sooner than later, because in the position that they're in, they need to still bring in free agents. They're not at a full roster, and they don't have the money because they still have Aaron Rodgers, who, by the way, in the next couple of weeks, they have to give him that guaranteed $60 million.
Mm-hmm. And they already lost a lot of defensive players, too, because of that, too. Kenny Clark went to the Vikings. Dean Lowry also went to the Vikings, and they lost a couple of their secondary pieces. They barely were able to keep Devondre Campbell, but still, they're looking at a lot of losses there. The offensive line, they might probably going to have to cut Bakhtiari, and who knows what they're going to do with Aaron Jones.
Could go to the Jets, too, because he'll be cheap.
And who knows what they're going to do with Aaron Jones, too, is making a big money for a running back. They might have to deal him at some point, too, because they got to pay A.J. Dillon. So
Bakhtiari would be a great fit for the Giants, too, and they should look at that, too, if he becomes available. And the Giants, I don't know how much money they have, and it looks like the Jets, for all the money that everybody said the Jets don't have, and they got to pay Aaron Rodgers and Quentin Williams, they haven't paid Quentin Williams. They're still finding a way to pay these guys. Everybody, I didn't think they were getting Hardman. I didn't think they had any chance for Hardman. I heard like 3 or 4 different teams, Tennessee being another one, that were looking to bring in Hardman, and even Super Bowl contenders. And some people thought the Chiefs might bring him back again. Right. So if they can get him on the cheap. But the Jets pull off, a signing to bring in Mecole Hardman, he's a good player.
That means they know something about Corey.
I don't know how great he is. And I never said he was great. Is he going to be a great fit with Aaron Rodgers? Well, Aaron Rodgers likes to toss the ball down the field. And with the speed that Hardman has, if he doesn't drop the ball, he could put the Jets in a very good position. Even if he scores 4 touchdowns next year, it's a steal for the Jets to have a 4th guy or a 5th guy either off the bench or even starting because of injury, to have that amount of structure offensively in the offense. So.
Right. And also Hardman is a guy that's a very good route runner too for short routes. Now he's not, I wouldn't say he's overly sophisticated route runner like Garrett Wilson is, but he is a deep threat and he has really good speed. And like you were saying before, yards after the catch is phenomenal for somebody like Hardman. And they can use him as a running back too. They could use him as a kick returner, punt returner. They could do a little bit of everything with him.
Dan Snyder and Tanya Snyder were cleared out of the Commanders facility completely on Friday. This is an interesting story. So finally, the NFL is getting this idiot and his wife out of the facilities. This man has ruined so many people's lives, okay? And I don't care if he's a billionaire. I don't care how much he sells the Washington Commanders. He's probably going to make $6 to $7 billion. He doesn't even know how to pay off his debts. All right. This man has been robbing people for years. A billionaire robbing people for years. And he tried by putting the team into his wife's name, he thought he could protect the rights of keeping the team and keeping the team in the family. That didn't work. NFL owners didn't want him and his wife involved in obviously the organization as a whole. And now finally the ownership sat around and said, listen, we need to get this guy out of here. And now they finally cleared him out of the facility. This is a great story. And we're going to hear a lot more in depth with Daniel Snyder and Tanya Snyder when they decide to sell the team and they finally find an owner, if it's Bezos or whoever it is. But this should have happened a long time ago. This has been going on for 2-3 years. He should have been thrown out of the facility for the last 2 years. And the fact that the NFL kept him there, shame on Roger Goodell. Roger Goodell's been sitting around letting this man sit here. He's absolutely attacked cheerleaders, sexually harassed different people, workers in the community. okay, of the Commanders. It is just absolutely despicable that this man has had ownership of this NFL team. We've seen this happen in the NBA. It never worked. We've seen this when racist terms or racist attacks and sexual harassment attacks in the NBA has happened over the years. What happens? The NBA forced these guys to sell the team. Why is this taking forever to accomplish?
Yeah, and it's because of Roger Goodell's ego of wanting to keep one of the richer owners in there. I mean, obviously, it's not as big as what he bought it at the time in 1999, but what he's going to sell it for is going to be a lot. And the NFL should want that kind of thing to happen. No, instead, they want this guy that's been all kinds of corrupt financial stuff, gross, like you said, like sexual harassment stuff with the cheerleaders, with many different workers, reporters there
in the community.
Yeah, and it's just really sad. And you look at a case too where now he's skimming money from all these season ticket holders, and they can't even put together a good field and good seating. Railing almost fall on Jalen Hurts. Like everything around it is just really, really bad for them, and it's getting worse and worse by the second.
Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, last year the Jalen Hurts, after the Eagles beat the Commanders on the road, literally had a railing of FedEx Field almost fall on his head.
I remember that.
One of the fans was trying to get out of the stadium, and it almost landed on his head. And I think he had his helmet off.
Well, obviously the Washington football team, or whatever, the Commanders, or whatever you want to call them now, the organization wanted to keep the stadium and rebuild to the stadium because they love that stadium. It's a defined stadium of the state and the city of Washington. So they want to keep that there, but I think they need to rebuild or either fix that place up, where you put at least $1 billion into fixing the place, or build another stadium, because it's dangerous for the players. It's dangerous for the fans to go in there and worry about hurting themselves, where there's going to be insurance policies and insurance, being sued by tons and tons of fans, not only fans, but teams and maybe players from other teams. So I don't know if Jalen Hurts is suing them, but I would.
Yeah, he should at that point, because you're right. He has the money to do it. Like, there's no reason. All right, you want to keep the natural grass field, fine, but there's no reason they can't renovate
City
the
of
rest
Washington,
of it.
by the way. City of Washington.
There's no reason for them to be able to renovate everything else. The seats, the facilities, the food, the bathrooms, everything like that. That's bad. Like everything about that's like just old and toxic about that place. There's no reason Dan Snyder, who has $1 billion, can't renovate that. No, he's just funneling the funds for himself.
Magic Johnson, who owns stock in both the Dodgers and the Lakers, have a team of owners or people that could obviously band together and try to buy the team. So I don't know if Magic Johnson's going to get involved with this. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's either Bezos or Harris. I think one of those guys, the other two significant bids are Jeff Bezos and Josh Harris, who own the Devils and the 76ers. I would like to give the team to Bezos. I think that would make a lot of sense. The richest man in the world if there's anybody that can fix this organization up and invest the money into this organization. Now, I don't know how it works with the Amazon deal with the NFL. I don't think he owns. I don't know if he's the CEO or CFO of the Amazon anymore. He sold it, but nevertheless, I don't know how it works. But Jeff Bezos is a guy that wants to own his team. He's from Washington, and he owns a lot of stuff in Washington. So I would love to see Jeff Bezos be the owner and take over this team and this organization. A lot of Commander free agents, as well as defensive tackle Daron Payne, had clauses that popped off on my screen, built into their contract, so their contracts wouldn't be paid until May 12th. There are currently 5 bids to buy the Commanders from Dan Snyder. There is a belief that new ownership could push hard for Lamar Jackson as the first big move if he's still available. Both Pro Football Talk and the Athletic report that the Commanders' sale will likely happen between March 26th and 29th at the NFL League meetings in Phoenix. So it's going to happen soon, and I think the fact that Dan and Tanya Snyder were cleared from the Commanders' facility, it tells you one thing, that they're ready to move on, and they're ready to move on quick. And then after they sell the team, I can't wait to see what is going to happen from the Senate and what's going to happen in the political views of what happened with the Commanders all these years under Daniel Snyder and his ownership.
Snug says they are working on Roger Goodell's 3-year contract extension. That dude is about to get paid. Yeah, I heard that yesterday. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
He always gets
but,
paid.
it
Yeah,
seems
40
inevitable.
what do you get? $49 million a year,
Yeah.
5-year deal with the NFL a couple of 4 years ago. So I'm not surprised. I'm not.
Hey, they got to keep him in there, of course.
No, the fact is he's bringing in money. And that's the way they look at it. If he is getting the league and making the league billions and billions of dollars, why would they part ways with him? Why? He's not a nice guy. We've seen what he did with concussions. We've seen what he's done with the medical and the insurance policies for ex-players. He has hurt the fact that the NFL is the biggest billion-dollar organization in the country, the United States. And he doesn't want to give full-time insurance to these players when they retire. Meanwhile, him and his family in his last contract have full benefits for the rest of their lives. He has his own jet, and he's making $49 million a year, which is more than any NFL player is making except Aaron Rodgers yearly. Right. So it's despicable.
And there's not going to be any players making that besides quarterbacks. So you're judging like Roger Goodell is a franchise superstar quarterback, judging on that. And meanwhile, there's still all these issues with a lot of these players too.
Japan defeats the United States 3-2 to win the World Baseball Classic, like we were arguing that was going to happen before the Classic even started. Team USA, I forgot that Team USA a couple of years ago won the World Baseball Classic. And I remember Marcus Stroman was on a team. I didn't know if it was a World Baseball Classic or World Championships. I wasn't sure, but they did win the last time the World Baseball Classic, was around. And now all of a sudden, Japan's won it a couple of times. And the way Japan came back against Mexico, the night before, was unbelievable. And Shohei Ohtani had a lot to do with it. And you see, and I don't know if he's the face of baseball. There's a lot of people that believe that he is. Mike Trout and him took a picture together, obviously, the two teammates that both play for the Angels. It's surprising that the two of the best players in the world are on the same team, can't even get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
But they outplayed the United States a little bit. And that was, Darvish pitched 8 innings. That was another thing. He knows all the hitters. He's pitched against all these hitters. There's a lot of pitchers on this roster that never pitched against some of these major league players. Darvish, who's obviously been a very good pitcher in the major leagues. It wasn't Shohei Ohtani. I was very surprised Shohei Ohtani, they didn't set it up that Shohei Ohtani was pitching in this game.
Or at least pitched like the last 3 innings or something, yeah.
But Darvish pitched 8 innings for Japan. Shohei Ohtani closed the game in the 9th, striking out teammate Mike Trout. Both USA and Japan used a combined 13 different pitchers during the game after neither starter went further than 2 innings. That's the way baseball is going to be now. I believe that. How many baseball analysts we've had on the show? How many ex-baseball players or ex-pitchers we've had on this show and catchers that I have said that I believe eventually it's going to go to this? Why are you going to pay these starting pitchers $30-40 million a year when you can pay a relief pitcher to pitch 2 innings for less?
And listeners, if you don't believe that, listen to our interview with Ben Heller. He explained that very well.
Yes, and he believes that's going to happen too. Why do you have to invest your money into one pitcher when you can say, you know what, I could bring in this pitcher for 2 innings. He's a pretty good pitcher. If he's pitching 2 innings, his numbers and his analytics say that he pitches very well for at least 1 time or 2 times around. You pitch that guy, you only have to pay him $4 million. You could get 4 or 5 pitchers for the price of 1.
Which is what I've been encouraging the Mets to do, but they never seem to want to do it. And now they lost Edwin Diaz for the season.
Trey Turner hit a home run, which was his 3rd straight game with a home run. He had 5 total in the World Baseball Classic, which is the most ever. Both Mets hitters struggled badly during the World Baseball Classic. Pete Alonso hit .143 with 0 home runs and 1 RBI. Jeff McNeil, who is, a pretty good hitter, hit 111 with 0 home runs and 0 RBIs. Yoshida, who just signed with the Red Sox in the offseason, hit .409 with 2 home runs and 13 RBIs for Yankee fans. That's not a good sign. And 4 walks during the World Baseball Classic. Shohei Ohtani hit 409 with 1 home run and 8 RBIs in the Classic. Ohtani also pitched great with a 1.86 ERA, 0.72 whip, and 11 strikeouts in 3 appearances and 2 starts. The World Baseball Classic has happened 5 times. Japan has now won the championship 3 times out of the 5. Japan won this year, 2006 and 2009. The USA won once in 2017, and Puerto Rico won in 2013. So the one thing that threw me off in the World Baseball Classic for Team USA was the pitching. Yeah. It didn't really stick out to me. The lineup was fantastic. And they didn't, there were games that they didn't show up. The lineup didn't show up, but you expect this against good pitching, you're not going to hit. But if you have good pitching, and I'm not saying Adam Wainwright didn't pitch well in the final game. He did. Giving up 3 runs or whatever. He gave up 2 runs to Japan in the first 2 innings. For Adam Wainwright, the guy's like 50 years old, okay? Right. He's an old man. He was the best pitcher on Team USA, and he was the oldest. I believe Adam Wainwright is a Hall of Famer for the amount, the longevity he's been in the league and how long he's been in the league, and he's been a very good pitcher in this league. Really has. For over 20 years.
Yeah, a lot of people thought he was done it for 2011, too, when he had that Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, the longevity that he has played in the league, and he's very liked, not only by his teammates with St. Louis, but throughout the league. He's very well respected, but he's an old man, and that was your number 1 starter for Team USA. You didn't have Garrett Cole. You didn't have any of these Verlander. You didn't have any of these pitchers to decide, hey, you know what? I want to win a championship with the Team USA. And this could have been the first championship that Mike Trout won.
Yep.
This is the first time Mike Trout played for Team USA in the 5 times and the 5 appearances as a Team United States player, and he never won. So
a lot of people were making those jokes on Twitter. After
he is going to
lost.
have a fantastic year today. I believe today. I believe that Mike Trout is going to have a fantastic year this year.
Just for him to get traded somewhere after that.
I don't think he'll be traded this year, but in the offseason he will. Once they decide to part ways with Ohtani, which he could go to the Dodgers to stay out west, maybe San Francisco. Some people think he's going to Mets. I don't think he's going out east.
Nah.
But nevertheless, when Ohtani's gone, I believe Mike Trout's going to want out, and he might want to come back closer to his family, which is out east. I don't think Philadelphia, because they have Trey Turner, but
they have too much money. Yeah,
he could go somewhere. Maybe he goes to the Mets. Maybe the Mets make a move for Mike Trout. That could make sense for the Mets.
Snug says Adam Wainwright and Matty Ice used to hunt woolly mammoths together when they were kids. Yeah, they probably did. Adam Wainwright does look like the type that would do that.
But yeah, it was a great World Baseball Classic. I predicted before the Classic that it was going to be Japan and the United States. I did pick Japan to beat the United States.
Yes, you did.
So a lot of people did. And congratulations to Japan. Very well deserved. They're a very good team. They've always been a good team, and they have a lot of good young players. We saw some players that are not in the major league yet. There's pitchers that we saw in this tournament that are fantastic, that are going to have the chance next year to come to the major league. So
yeah, I think only 3 of their hitters were in the major leagues too.
So you're going to see a lot of these young players come into the major leagues and become successful. Look at you, Darvish and Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani is a fantastic player. There's no question he's developed into one of the best players in the league. Do I think he's the face of baseball? No. I think he's one of them. I think he's one of the top 5. But to say he's the face of baseball, I don't know. Internationally, he's very well known, but so is Aaron Judge.
Yeah, I would say it fluctuates with the top 3 year to year too. Yeah, Aaron Judge is now going to get it because of the home run record. Shohei Ohtani had the 2021 season; he was definitely the face then. And then you got Bryce Harper, who's probably been the most popular player for 7 years before that.
March Madness first weekend is complete. I will say this, and I know a lot of people are surprised that Purdue got knocked out. I'm not, even though I took them to be my Final Four team. I thought it was going to be Alabama and Purdue. And who were my other 2 teams that I picked?
You had Miami and Gonzaga.
Miami and Gonzaga.
They're both still in. Yep.
Yeah. So I have 3 out of the 4 that are still in the tournament. But what Dickinson did, obviously, the way they went into that game against Purdue and played the way they did, had the early lead going to the second half. They poured it on them early, and they got obviously Purdue's top 2 players in foul trouble. And obviously, and they out-rebounded one of the biggest teams in the tournament.
I know. They have the lowest average size among any team in NCAA, and they outright rebounded Purdue with a lot of guards, too, just positionally.
Dickinson becomes the second number 16 seed in to win against the number 1 seed in the NCAA double tournament, defeating Purdue 63-58. Fairleigh Dickinson was the smallest team in terms of average height in the nation and took down the Purdue team that was one of the biggest. This is the first year in the NCAA tournament history that both a 16 seed and a 15 seed pulled off upsets in the same year. Number 15 Princeton advanced to the Sweet 16 after defeating Arizona and Missouri. This is the third straight year that a 15 seed has become has been in the Sweet 16, with Oral Roberts doing it in 2021 and St. Peter's doing it last year. Princeton is the first Ivy League school in the Sweet 16 since Cornell in 2010. Number 1, Kansas lost 72-71 against Arkansas, which absolutely shattered me and killed me. The last 5 defending national champions have now gone out in the first weekend their following year. 2 number 1 seeds remain, Alabama and Houston. 2 number 2 seeds remain, Texas and UCLA. 3 number 3 seeds remain, Kansas State, Gonzaga, and Xavier. 2 number 4 seeds remain with Tennessee and UConn, and 2 number 5 seeds remain, San Diego State and Miami. Other lower seeds still in it: number 6 Creighton, number 7 Michigan State, number 8 Arkansas, number 9 Florida Atlantic, and number 15, Princeton. So it's been a good tournament. I've lost a lot of money, so thank you to all the teams that I've bid on.
See, now you can forever hate Kansas like I do.
Why do you say that?
Because they made you lose money.
Well, being that they were 8 points going into the second half, and they've been 47-0 in their last 47 games, up by 8 or more, I thought it was a sure thing. So I said, you know what? I'm going to bet $80. I'm going to make $50, $60 on this deal, and I lost. So
I'm sure Purdue thought it was a sure thing playing against the smallest team in the nation.
I think I was going to make 40 if I bet on it, but whatever. Who do we have?
Jeff is back.
Jeff, what's up?
I love that you guys are talking college hoops. It's an exciting time of year for college hoops,
especially for you.
But I have one question for hey, I'm doing pretty good. Not in the bracket. The bracket not so good, but against the spread, I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good.
My bracket's pretty good. I got 10 out of 16 Sweet 16s.
Good for you.
Yeah, I mean my final 2 just got knocked out in Marquette and Kansas, so I'm cooked.
I warned you about Marquette, Jeff.
I know. Dude, Michigan State is not good, man. Marquette should have beat them. That is just, it's crazy. But I had a question for you. You know, you're talking college hoops. You're giving it some love. I love that. My question to you would be: do you think Kim English is the greatest college basketball coach that ever lived? Because I do.
I would not be able to know enough about that. I know he did Missouri. He played for Missouri. I remember that, or he coached Missouri in the year that I picked them away at all in 2012. I think he played on that team, if I remember correctly.
Kim English might be the greatest basketball coach in the history of college basketball.
So is he the guy that took over Providence's job? Is that why you're saying that?
Is that what you're telling me? You're telling me Kim English got what a hire by Providence. I can't believe it. That's amazing. Good for Kim English going to one of the best schools in the country. Let's go.
So I was trying to figure out what you were getting at. What you were getting at with that.
I didn't know that, Speedy. That's great information. Thank you.
Okay. Are you surprised that they let go, or Cooley ditched them for Georgetown?
No. Look, the thing with Cooley is a Providence guy. I respect Ed Cooley. Great basketball coach. Coach of the year in all of college basketball last year. Has done a terrific job. It's just hard to get kids to go to Providence. It's not a big recruiting area. There aren't a lot of great athletes around there. Most of the kids that are really good, they go to other places. You know, Tyler Kolek, the Big East Player of the Year this year.
Yeah,
Marquette. Right, he's from Cumberland, Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like most of the kids that are there, they want to get out. You know, so it's just hard to get kids to go to Providence. And going to Georgetown, it does have, I guess, a little better legacy than Providence. Providence still very rich in history, but they're a better. It's a better recruiting area. They have good local kids there, so I can understand the allure of wanting to go there. You know, he did such a good job with Providence. If he can get a few more better kids in there and take a team to the further level, because he's reached a couple Sweet 16s with Providence. He's done really well with them, but he's looking to win a national championship, and who knows?
Yeah, there was 1 year too. I think they almost beat North Carolina when they were a 1 seed too. And I think the last shot I think just hit the back rim or something like that. It was very close.
That's the Chris Dunn, Ben Bentel years.
Yeah, I think North Carolina was a 1 seed, and I think they ended up losing in the national championship that year, and they almost lost to Providence too, like in the round of 32, I believe that year.
Providence has always had strong. They almost beat Kentucky. Think about that. No one thinks this Providence is a good school, but they almost just took down one of the Blue Bloods. There was a year they beat North Carolina.
Yeah, I remember that.
They've always been pretty good and scrappy. You know, they've been pretty good and scrappy sometimes. So, but good for them. They got the best coach in the country. That is unbelievable. Thank you for telling me that, Speedy. I did not know that.
Stuck says Purdue isn't that surprising to me. Dallas, they've been bounced a few times by 13 and 15 seeds. God bless St. Peter's. It was a hell of a run. Yes, they're the only 15 seed to make an Elite Eight. Yes.
Hold on. What did I tell you about Purdue, though? What did I tell you? I said, and I thought it was obviously going to be later. I didn't think it was going to be Fairleigh Dickinson. That's for sure.
No, I had them losing my 12th seed Oral Roberts, but they lost to
I had Houston and Miami, and I also had Xavier in Texas. I'm pretty sure yes, I did have.
I flat out told you though, if you can take Zach Edey out of the game, the rest of that team was trash. And what happened? The trash showed up.
Yeah, and Zach Edey barely touched the ball at the end of the game too. It made no sense.
Yeah, I mean, their whole team was that one kid. That's how dominant he was in college basketball this year. So good for him. But the rest of that team, I'd rather see Marcus Smart shooting the ball.
And I'm surprised. I'm surprised when you look at Kansas State and what Kansas State is doing. I didn't think they were going to have it that easy all the way into the game against Michigan State. And Michigan State has gone further than I thought they were going to go. Now, Tom Izzo is one of the best coaches of all time, and that has a lot to do with coaching. Because if you have a good coach, a.k.a. St. John's, we'll get into our new head coach here who signed a 6-year deal to St. John's, and maybe this changes everything. We'll see.
Good call. You called that.
Yes.
So,
yeah. I knew. To me, Pitino is the perfect fit for St. John's. And I don't know. He's 70 years old. Maybe it's a couple of years too late. We'll see. But he knows how to recruit players. And they got a billionaire that's willing to open up his pockets. So who knows what could happen to St. John's basketball in the next couple of years. But
how much longer before he gets fired?
I don't know. I don't know. But he does have a billionaire that's willing to invest. So that's a good sign.
All right. By the way, I just got an update. Stuart is actually still listening to the show, and he texted me, and he says Jeff is talking out of his ass about Purdue. Stuart Swigert, the guest we had on earlier.
Oh, first of all, no. I am absolutely correct. The rest of that team was trash. Zach Edey was great. The rest of that team is absolute dog shit. Absolute dog shit.
He says calling the other players trash is completely idiotic.
And they proved it. They proved it. Once Zach Edey couldn't put the ball in the hoop, did anyone else make a shot? No. And then they got run out of the gym by a team that barely has any guys over 6 feet.
Well, again, when you look at the tournament and again, it sticks out with Xavier. I expect Xavier to go further in this tournament. The way they fell in the bracket really fit their way all the way to the Elite Eight. And I believe they're going to knock off Texas. I don't think Texas is any good. Okay, I was very surprised they beat Penn State, but after being Penn State. After Penn State got eliminated, their coach goes to Notre Dame now. So Penn State, which they've had a very good season. They were one of the better offensive teams in the second half of the season, getting into the tournament, knocking off Texas A&M, loses against a Texas team that I know they were ranked at number 2 as one of the top 2 teams in their bracket. I don't think Texas is as good as everybody thinks they are. Okay, and they're playing.
And before Stuart Schweigert starts getting mad that he thinks I hate Purdue, I love Purdue. I'm the one going to have drinks with Adam Wolf later, his former teammate, right? I still think Tyler Trent is the greatest Boilermaker of all time. Who was Tyler Trent, Speedy?
Wasn't he? He was the kid that they were honoring a couple of years ago. I forget what it was.
He wanted to be a sports broadcaster, and he was dying of cancer, and he was the inspiration behind that Purdue team that beat Ohio State. He was a great Boilermaker.
No, I remember the ceremony they did.
Boiler up and hammer down. I can do the whole thing with Stewart, right?
All right, Stewart has another question for you, Jeff. Stewart has another question for you, Jeff. How many games did you watch this year of Purdue? He wants to know.
Hey, I watched a ton of them. I even watched them get slapped in Orlando by LSU.
All right, he watched a ton of them, Stewart. So apparently he's got a little bit of leeway. I don't know, Jeff. He's not liking your shots. He's coming right out.
I will say this:
he's texting me coming out these shots.
And as far as the basketball team goes, I watched them get stuffed in a locker by Indiana.
I think the best game going into the Sweet 16 is Arkansas and UConn. That's what I think is the best game after what Arkansas did against Kansas. UConn, if they can get through Kansas right here, I think they get to the Final Four. I think they could beat Gonzaga. I think they could beat UCLA. I think they could beat any one of those teams.
They beat Gonzaga last year.
Arkansas, they proved to me they can knock off Kansas. Who even you, Jeff, said. Jeff, you said that they were probably best all-around team going into the tournament. Kansas, you said that.
Oh yeah, I loved Kansas. I thought they were great. They got your favorite player, Grady Dick.
Who's that calling? Who is that?
It might be Stewart. Stewart, if you want to come back in, I don't know. He said
so put him on. Put him on. You can put him on two-way. Can't you? You know how to use it.
I'll fight.
Put him on.
Let's do this. I'm not afraid of him.
Come on, Speedy. Let's go. What are you doing, Speedy? Do you know how to use the phone? You have an iPhone. What do you have problems with?
Stewart, coming back into the feed. We'll argue there.
What, you don't know how to put two-way on your
not on the phone. No, I never did that before.
You never done it on your iPhone?
I never did that on the phone. But
he better have black boxing gloves to match that varsity jacket.
Oh, man. But looking at the tournament and the bracket, the way it's set up, it's going to be a fun Sweet 16. A lot of people have Houston, Alabama going into the national championship. Again, Houston and Alabama going into this tournament were the best overall teams. Everybody thought that they were going to make the best run because of what they've done in the second half of the season. But again, there's a lot of deficiencies that both these teams have. Houston, in this tournament, they had problems. They had problems in the first game against North Kentucky. They snuck right by North Kentucky. They had a pretty easy round against Auburn. They ran all over Auburn.
Sleep on the North though.
But Miami is a good team, and I had Miami going into the Elite Eight, and I could see Houston getting knocked off against Miami. This is going to be very, very interesting. And by the way, Miami, they could have lost. They absolutely could have lost against Drake. I was very surprised they snuck by Drake, especially with 4.5 minutes left. And at one point they were losing. So, but they put on a good shot, and then they breezed right through Indiana, which is crazy. They had a problem with Drake, but breezed right through Indiana, a very good 3-point shooting team. So it didn't make any sense. Speedy, what are you doing? You having problems over there, Speedy? Do you want me to learn how to do two-way on iPhones? Because you know why I bought it.
Let's try that.
You do know why I bought I got an iPhone for the network. It was because you're an iPhone guy and you don't know how to use a Droid, but you obviously are having problems with the iPhone.
Stewart, if you want to go argue with Jeff, come back into our feed.
You really can't do that.
I never did a two-way call before.
So you can't do a two-way call on that either?
I never did one before, so I don't know.
Give me the phone, Speedy. You go back into the give me the phone. Give me the phone.
Then we'll lose Jeff.
No, that's fine. Give me the phone, and you talk about the tournament. Give me the phone. Come on.
So another one I was mentioning that there were 10 out of 16 seeds I got right, and they Creighton knocked off Baylor 85 to 76. Alabama will now face them in that round. That was another one I ended up getting right. Baylor was a tough team in the tournament all year, but you're looking at a case where Creighton was just a better offensive team in that case, and the Florida Atlantic was the other one. Then they knock off the 16 seed Fairleigh Dickinson. Unfortunately, Kansas State and Michigan State is on the next round. Kansas State, Marquise Noel was an absolutely beastly guy, and looks like all right, Stewart's going to come back. He's in the video now. He's going to fight his shot with Purdue here at some point. Oh no, now he ran out of the room. Stewart is doing that. He's running out of the room, and now he might be coming back. Let's see. All right, so Jeff is back. Stuart, there he is.
All right.
All right,
Yeah.
Stuart's back, so he's got to fight his fight about Purdue here.
Well,
All right, hold on. Before we get
I'm
into
not-
he's
here's-
talking, but I can't hear him, so you're gonna have to translate
All right,
some of this.
yeah. All right, Stuart, go ahead. What were you saying?
Oh, he can't hear us?
I'll funnel it.
No, well, first of all, to say that the other guys are trash on the team.
They are.
I mean, the team won the Big Ten championship regular season, won the Big Ten tournament. Yeah. Did they have a bad game against this team? Yeah, they did. And they have been doing that the last couple of years. But out of respect for athletes, I would hope that you would have a little more information on these kids. We have some kids that are freaking really, really good for that team. I mean, to be number one in the country and to say the guys on the other team are the guys on that team that are number one in the country trash. What does that say about the other athletes that are out there that aren't even ranked? Those guys are even worse than trash.
He was saying that. Okay,
I heard that part. It was loud enough where I heard him. First of all, Stuart, I'm an athlete myself. I respect all athletes. But if you can't beat a 16 seed and you're a number 1 seed, and it's the only second time it's ever happened in history, yeah, you're not very good. You didn't play good. You know?
How can you a team's not very good? A number 1 team, you're telling me a number 1 team in the country is a not very good team.
Well, it's also a year with a ton of parity. I don't think that there was any one team that really stood out to another this year. Do you?
No, I'm not saying that you can talk about parity and stuff, but to call a team that was number 1 in the country and won a conference championship, which I have a lot of respect for the Big Ten, and to say that they're subpar and that the guys on the team are trash, I mean that's impossible.
First of all, I give no respect to anyone that was number 1 in the country because, first of all, North Carolina was number 1 in the country to start the year. They missed the tournament.
First one since 1973, a preseason number 1 to miss the tournament completely.
But here's the deal, though. Here's the deal.
Based on someone's opinion, we find out who the best is on the court.
But here's the deal. If you say you have respect for athletes, for those guys that even be in the talking of a team that's number 1 in the country, you know how hard it is to be ranked number 1, regardless of how you finish in the regular season, and to call those athletes trash and garbage.
I think I've struck a nerve because you're just defending your Purdue brethren.
No,
so I will forgive you.
I'm having the back of any athlete that's ever played before. I mean, I've never been on a number 1 team before, and I can only imagine. I mean, that's hard to do, and to be able to, it's hard to be the number 1 team in a rec basketball league, and when you're playing at the YMCA, and to be able to do that and then call those kids trash, I just think sometimes some people just need to just not be so top shelf sometimes with stuff like this guy's trash or dude, this guy's the greatest guy ever. It's like, man, those kids are out there busting their ass. Yeah, did they have a bad game? Yeah, they did, but that happens time and time over again. They lost a couple games to some teams. Yeah, they lost to teams they shouldn't have, but they fucking beat a lot of great teams, and they beat they beat the crap out of a lot of great teams, and half the team was freshmen. Those guys were right out of high school.
Freshmen,
huh?
Maybe they'll be better down the road. They're only freshmen.
I'm telling you, to have a team with freshmen on it and to make it to number 1 and win the Big Ten, that is a pretty tough deal to do. They're to say that they may be good. Those kids are good players.
I wouldn't do that during the show. Don't answer it. Block.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Jeff, still there?
Yes, I am.
All right, whoever's trying to call right now, wait until Jeff's off. We'll get you on in a bit. It's somebody new 732 number.
I'm not upset at you at all, man. I mean, I like having debates and all that stuff. And like I said, I just heard you on there, and sometimes I just know for me, especially if I'm not someone who is well educated in a team, to use the words trash. I mean, that's disrespectful to those kids.
Everyone collapsed down on Zach Edey. They took Zach Edey away, and every one of those kids missed. Every one of them missed open shots. Every one of them.
Michael Jordan has missed open shots, man. I mean, that's part of basketball.
I mean, you can't miss all of them, though.
I'm pretty sure those kids didn't miss every shot.
They didn't shoot very well.
Well. So here's the thing, though. Are you saying you went from they didn't make any shots to now didn't shoot very well? That's what I'm saying. Like, I guess to take it to that extreme. I mean, I don't know why those comments you would make, because again, those kids. When I know that someone's done something that I haven't done, and again, I'm not expertise in it, I'm not going to sit there and call the kids trash, man. It's just, I don't know. I just don't know why that would be, why you would say that. And then you're going to go out with Wolf and you say that you like Purdue, but talk about him like that?
Stu, you know what it is?
I love giving Wolf shit. I love giving him shit because I know he played special teams, and every time we go, so I have another buddy, Pat Harrington. He played tight end at Florida State, and when we all get together and stuff, I call him Shane Falco and Bobby Boucher, two dudes that never played. You know,
and you know what? I have no problem with that, and that's fine. But the only thing I'm saying is you're on a national. Anyone can watch this. You know what I'm saying? And what you say, like to Ref Wolf guys, feathers or whatever, that's cool. But I guess what I'm saying is I just I wouldn't want someone saying that about me, I guess is what I'm saying. So I'm like, especially someone that hasn't been experienced with
2 for 11 from 3-point range. 2 for 11.
So what? I mean, guys have bad games. Does every guy that's played in the NBA or they've never had bad games before?
I mean, a number 1 seed versus a team that almost should.
So every team that's ever been ranked number 1 makes every single shot.
I mean, most people make better than 2 for 11 from 3-point range, especially when you know the strategy is going to be take away the 7 foot. Is he 7'4"?
So you're saying though that again that if you're number 1 in the country, you don't make any mistakes. So Purdue's the only number 1 team, which they weren't number 1 team in the country. They were number 1 seed. They came in at number 5. They're the only number 1 team that's missed shots before.
No, a lot of teams miss shots. A lot of teams miss shots, but it was a bad year for college basketball. Do you think that there was like really a good, like solid, like really good dominant basketball team this year? Because I don't think there was anyone that I was like, oh, that's a team that's just going to make a deep run.
No, I don't know. I mean, that there's obviously there is parity. I mean, you see this. I mean, there's kids, because these kids aren't thinking that there's so many ways to get to where they want to get to. They don't have to go to those big Division I schools to get to the NBA. They can go anywhere. It's all about just getting onto the court. And I like the parity in it, you know. And I'll be honest with you, to have those guys lose, I wasn't too disappointed, because they were I felt at times taking advantage, and they weren't realizing. Like, again, I wish that I've got to believe, like I said, Painter's a friend of mine. I got to believe that he's preparing these guys, but these kids at these age, man, they got it all figured out. It's amazing to me as an older guy. You talk to these kids and they don't want. I mean, just for instance, Walter Jordan got inducted to the Hall of Fame. Walter Jordan played at Purdue, played in the NBA, great player. And I said, Walter, do you ever come back and talk to the kids? He goes, I do, but they don't listen. And it's just like, man, that's disappointing as well. So I'm kind of off topic now, but I mean, like the generation of these kids, it's amazing. I mean, I live right up the street, and I've extended myself, given my phone number, invited guys. I'm thinking if I was playing and Rod Woodson lived right up the street, I'd be at that dude's house every single day. So again, it was so disappointing for me for that to happen, because I'm thinking, how could you ever be caught off guard nowadays? You know what I mean? Like that drives me nuts.
But there's a huge difference between the people that Purdue got versus the people that Fairleigh Dickinson got. Like, Purdue's a big school, a very big basketball school. So they get the top, because it's all changed. It's all prep school now. They got all the top prep school guys and whatever. Like Fairleigh Dickinson, what did they get? They got 2-star recruits.
But listen, Purdue got star players out of high school. Their high school resume has nothing to do with dictating how they're going to play in college. It doesn't matter. So they got great high school players. It doesn't mean they got great college players, even though those guys are great college players. There are great players everywhere. That's what people don't realize. Like, just because a guy's playing at Division II or a NAIA school, that guy's one of the best athletes that's walking on the planet Earth right now.
And here's another thing. We see them when they rate them like 2-star recruits, 3-star recruits, and those 2 or 3-star recruits become professional players and become stars. So you don't know.
Well, then also
they for sure can, but their high school career is a barometer of their talent level. And Purdue
it's not. I mean, that's where people fall into this, and that's what I talked about, bad front office people, because they believe in these numbers and shit rather than them going and sitting down and having an opinion of what a good athlete is and going, no, you know what, I like that guy's a good athlete, not going off the numbers or a rating from some guy that doesn't even know about football. Like that's the problem. This guy came in and this, and I was a trainer and I had athletes that, whether it was because they were at a small school, whether or not their coach didn't promote them correctly, whether or not they were playing a position where their color wasn't really the best for that position, whatever it is, they just didn't get the chance for it. You know what I'm saying? So that when some of these guys, they just don't get an opportunity, and then it's great to see them get a chance to go up against those guys because they didn't get the high ranking, or they were an inch too short of what the position requires them to even get looked at. So I like it when they go against these schools, and I always loved it when walk-ons would come and become starters, because all those numbers and stuff, yeah, it's part of it. It does. I mean, it does have some
bearing
on how they're going to be. But again, it comes down to, and that's why I was so disappointed with Purdue, because they are such hard workers and stuff like that. But it comes down to who's the better guy that day. You know what I mean? And that's the big part of it. And that's why I think the NCAA tournament is the greatest sporting event out of anything, because it's like, it is, in the NBA, when you have 7-game series, I mean, it's hard to have an upset win in those. I mean, because it's just over time the better team is going to win. But I mean, that one and done stuff, man, I love it. And the only, like I said, the only thing I wanted to say was, I guess if you don't know some, because I know these kids and I have respect for any college athlete because the amount of work that goes into it. And they say that when they say that they're trash, I was just like, man.
I will say this about Jeff. When he says they're trash, he uses words that you would probably get frustrated about.
No, I know.
That's how he is.
I know.
I don't think he thinks that they're trash. I know
he doesn't. I know he doesn't. Like I said, we love to go top shelf with our, you know what I mean, with our words. And yeah, I know. And
But Stuart, we live in a different world now, right?
I know we do. I know we do.
This isn't the same world that you were recruited in. We have rivals. We have 24/7 sports. We have YouTube videos. We have what's the ball is life collection of videos, right? Like we have all of this stuff now. So if you have talent, you're going to very easily be found. And the
we had the max prep rating that you'd get, and then we had Tom Lemming, and those were the only two guys he's taught.
The ESPN 300.
Yeah.
They have everything. They have the cheat sheets. That's
but I will say this, guys. These guys at the next level.
You probably still had dial-up internet when you were high school. I know I did, right? We live in a different world where, like, if you have talent, you're going to be found. So it's just the expectations are different now.
Well, but that's the thing. There's so many so-called experts out there, right? And so many boards that come out, and a lot of these guys, they don't even do any research just because of maybe one dude that does probably have a pretty good eye on some things. They see what he's doing, they kind of follow suit with it. There's so many rankings that come out there just because some kid gets ranked, all of a sudden the other guys just keep ranking them that way because one guy did it, and it could be off of a bad evaluation. So those pre-thing numbers, I mean, that's why I always like with the combine and this and that, like, dude, I want to can the guy play football or not? Like that stuff like doesn't matter. And I just like when you look at the rankings, and I think kids buy into those rankings, and they really don't mean anything.
Stuart, I'm sorry to cut you off, Jeff. I will say, we've had these draft experts on our show for the NFL draft, and these kids, Sports Illustrated, these guys are studying guys that they're 21, 22 years old, and they're like analytic gurus and stuff like that. We've had them on the show. Last year, they said, the draft class is crap. Yep. This coming year's class is better than last year's class. And they were wrong, because how many Pro Bowlers, how many guys stood out last year in that class? And this year, we're looking at this class that everybody thought it was going to be a quarterback class. It's crap.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I think people get labeled with expert and in these positions where back in the day, I mean, like you said, when somebody held a certain position, they're at that position. You give them credit automatically. If you're running this, if you're the GM of something, you're automatically going to think that guy knows what the hell he's talking about, right? And unfortunately, now a lot of these guys, they don't know what they're talking about. So you can't just like believe. I just always I'm not going to trust any. I'm going to go and do my own evaluation. I'm always amazed that I'll sit there and I'll listen. When I go and watch some of these at college practices, and because one guy says a kid's good, it's like yeah, I feel he's good, and then everyone's agreeing with it. I'm sitting there going,
yeah, but
that guy, you're talking about that guy, yeah. He's trash. Here you go. I say he's trash.
Oh, you just said trash.
I know. I did.
I get it. You're on board. You're on the trash train. I got you, bro.
God. So yeah. So I'm like, no, that guy, like that kid. But a lot of guys don't even know what a good player looks like. You know what I mean? And like,
right. But hold on. With all due respect, Stuart. Seriously, with all due respect, because I do respect your opinion. I think you're a good human, and me and Adam will definitely talk about this later. However.
Are you so?
Screw Max Preps, screw Max Preps, screw Rivals, screw all of that. Purdue has a recruiting staff of 5 to 8 people where they go into the gyms themselves. So they're not looking at somebody else's rating. They might show up because of someone else's rating, but they give their own. They have a staff that gives their own evaluations. So that's also kind of a little bit garbage. These schools are doing their due diligence themselves. They're not just saying, "Oh, well, this kid's ranked on Max Preps, so I'll send him a letter."
Oh no! Hey, when I'm talking about people looking at these things, I'm not talking about Purdue staff and their recruiting. I'm talking about the average fan. That's what I'm talking about. Or I'm talking about
what do they know?
I'm talking about also too, so-called gurus or so-called experts or this guy giving an opinion on something that just because he watched 2 or 3 games, you're formulating an opinion that I don't think there's enough information to even I wouldn't give my opinion if I didn't have enough information because you got guys out there like me listening to it, and I wouldn't want to disrespect. So I wouldn't want to be disrespectful to anybody, especially those kids that are busted. That's the thing for me is I think, we were just talking about it, right? That people don't get enough credit for where they're to play at that level or to be in shape at 40 or to whatever. People think it's a lot easier than what it is, and that's the part that I'm like, man, you're really taking away from. That the what that kid has to do to play at that, and then to be around people and they're calling them trash. That's all I'm saying is that's they're not trash. I mean, anyone that's playing at the high school level is not trash. It's hard to be a decent high school player.
There's nothing wrong with being trash. Oscar the Grouch was my favorite Sesame Street
All right,
character.
Jeff.
He was garbage.
All right,
You know what I'm
Jeff.
saying?
All right,
It's okay.
It's time. There are other people that want to call in.
Jeff, there's another
Yeah,
guy.
hey, I didn't mean. I just. Hey,
No, Stu. We really appreciate you joining us because you wanted to get your point heard, and I agree with you in a lot of ways. If you're playing college ball and you're playing at the highest level, you're not trash, and I agree with you.
Well, I mean, because again, I've been called trash. You know what I'm saying? And it's like
by Tony Gonzalez, and we proved to him he's absolutely wrong, Stu.
Well, I mean, but also too, you look at it and you go, well, like I'm going to take. Constructive criticism is great, but also too, it's who's the ones calling you that, because then you're looking at it going, what opinion do you have to even say that or whatnot? So that was it. That was it. So are you in? Where do you live, Jeff?
Tampa.
Tampa, Florida.
Why did I think so? Is Wolf down there?
Yeah, Tampa. Wolf's got his own. So Wolf just left his dad's firm and started his own architect firm, the Wolf Partners, and he's built a museum down here, actually.
Well, yeah, I mean, you talk about a guy right there, Wolf, a guy who, if on paper or if you're looking at him, has no business being a productive player in the at a Big Ten school like Purdue. But you get him out there, and none of the height and stats from whatever mean anything when it comes down to one-on-one matchups. And I don't care what that stuff does. It does not make any. That's not going to do any bit of difference with me. We're on the same field. I'm going to go knock your off. And he was. That's why I always respected him, because he was a guy that didn't listen to that. Right? Didn't listen to the.
Yeah, he's certainly undersized, but he mostly played special teams. He's a glorified tackling dummy.
Tackling dummy.
You're telling me a guy that was making plays at the Big Ten level on national TV, because he wasn't a starter, you're taking away from what he was able to do.
Glorified tackling dummy.
No, I love the dude. That's why I love making fun of him. I honestly love the dude. He's honestly one of the greatest people on the planet, dude.
I guess I'd hate to
be your friend.
I know. I hate to hear what you say about people you don't like.
Well, that's why he calls this show.
Woo! You don't need enemies with friends like Jeff.
Jeff, thank you.
But I always buy the first round of drinks, Stuart.
No,
so.
and here's the deal. I love having these talks because I get it. That's who you are, right? You know what I mean? So as long as you're always an asshole, dude, I respect that. It's a people
nonstop.
He takes it all. By the way, Stu, when Aaron Rodgers is fully traded to,
I hate him. By the way,
when Aaron Rodgers is fully traded to the Jets, my friend over here is going to have to. He's going to have to eat doggy doo doo. So it will be on FaceTime, and he will. He's going to pick up a nice juicy piece of dog crap on the ground of my pickings, and he's going to stick it in his mouth and eat it on social media for everybody in the world to see.
I have two things. I have two things before I let you guys go. Right? Just two things. One, that bet doesn't bother me, Stuart. I don't know if you're this kind of guy, but I eat my girl's ass.
All right, Jeff.
And then the second thing before I go, let's just do this one time so we can make up here, Stuart. God, boiler up.
Thank you. Hammer down.
Hammer down. That's what I'm talking about, bro.
There we go.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
Cheers, boys.
I want to say something about Rodgers, and then I'll leave or whatever. But
no.
I know. So there was an offensive lineman that played for the Raiders. I actually played against him he played at Washington. I played against him in the Rose Bowl and Sun Bowl, and his wife played soccer at Tennessee. Danica Patrick's sister played soccer with her at Tennessee. And here's the deal. Again, I don't make an opinion on somebody unless I meet the guy, right? And I have my own opinion. Because I've ran into it before where I'm sitting here and I'm kind of cussing the guy out, and then I'm thinking about, I'm like, why do I hate this guy? And then I'll talk to somebody else and I'm like, Stuart, he's actually a pretty decent dude. And then I'm thinking, like, why was I calling this guy whatever? And that's not fair for me to do that.
Got it.
I didn't like when Aaron started to like grow his hair. Like he just, to me, I can spot kind of, I'm a pretty good judge of character. And he just started to get to where I'm like, this guy's, he's an a-hole, right? And all I'm waiting for is for him and Mahomes to just completely do a full makeout on one of those State Farm commercials.
I don't want to see that. Sorry.
It's like, dude, you guys, there's so much sexual tension between you guys. It's like, dude, it's sick. It's disgusting.
Well,
but anyways,
you got to meet Jeff, so there you go.
Danica Patrick's sister said that Danica said that he is an asshole. He is a weirdo. He's an asshole. And anybody who disowns their family and doesn't communicate with their family, there's something weird with that, And that's the only thing I don't like is I want people to know that Aaron Rodgers is going to be that way regardless if he plays football, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the thing that people don't sometimes get is there's in a football world with the population, there's weirdos, there's guys that are smart, there's guys that are uncomfortable, there's guys but they're doing that. They'd be that way if they're football players or not. You know what I mean? So I don't want people to think that football players are that way. But again, you don't have to act that way. And yeah, for whatever reason, he just, I don't know. He just irks me. I mean, I can't take away from what he's done as a player and this and that. But again, like you said, and this is the perfect way to do it. It has to always be about him.
Yeah. That's a lot of athletes are like that. LeBron James is like that.
I can't stand LeBron.
Yeah, he's like that. A lot of these star athletes, they've turned out to be like that. Floyd Mayweather did it for so many years in boxing. If you I can point them out from decade to decade. You can find those players that really they think they're bigger than the game. They think they're bigger than everybody else. And I love Aaron Rodgers. I've always been a fan of his. I think his talent is beyond the quarterbacks that we've seen over the years. Everybody says, Tom Brady's a GOAT, whatever. Tom Brady did a lot of great things, and he's a nice guy. But you want to know something? Aaron Rodgers, if you've seen what Aaron Rodgers has done with the team that he has around him, go look at the players that left that organization and look what they did after they left.
Well, you made the comment too about him. He had a receiver that came this year that he kind of made
Watson. Yeah.
And that is totally true. And that's again it. There are those 1% of the 1%ers. Those guys are going to go to any organization, regardless of whoever the coach is, whoever his teammates are, whatever's going on. They're going to be good.
Yeah.
For the rest of us, there's a lot of things that have to go on. We like, we have to have the right coach, and you have to be with the right people, and you have to have the right game at the right time to get in the public eye, and a team that's in front of the national spotlight to get noticed and all that type of stuff. There's stuff that goes into it. And it's the thing is, though, there's nothing better than just hanging out with a dude like that's just a normal guy, that likes to go out and just be a normal dude.
Like you, Stu. You're a likable person. I don't drink, but I'll go out with you.
Oh, I'm not even saying that.
I know what you're saying. I'm just messing around.
I mean, I will say this though: when people do go out with me and they're not drinking, it makes me nervous. When people would be around, I'm like, "You're not drinking."
Yeah. People, when I go out, they think I'm drunk or I'm on something because I'm the craziest one there. So
there's no problem with that. But sometimes I'll be like, okay. Wait, hold on. You're not drinking anything? No. Are you sick? No.
You sound like my girlfriend.
I'm gonna be like, are you not? I mean, are you in AA? Are you in recovery? No. Have you drank before? Yeah. And I'm sitting there going, okay, this is okay. What's your angle here? What do you do? Why are you here right now then? I mean, like, what's going on here, dude? Like, you know what I'm saying? So, but no, I guess that was it. I just, I always,
you're the man.
I just want, because again, and what I like to do is, again, I like to just maybe next time when Jeff's going to call someone trash, maybe he's going to go,
no,
I don't
count on him. Don't count on
him. I know.
He's not a person that you can ask to change who he is, because that's who he is.
I'm not saying I don't want anyone to change.
Oh, no. I know. I understand what you're saying.
All I'm saying is like, because there's been times where I don't even know I'm doing it, and someone will say it, I'm like, wow, I didn't even realize that could be something. So again, for me, I don't have that little filter anymore. Like I want to, if there's something I feel like if there's information that if I was doing something and someone's standing there and they're looking at me and they're going, man, if this guy, I would love for them to call me. And I'm not saying I would listen to what they're saying, but I mean, it's nice to know that, if I'm doing something that someone would kind of say, hey, dude, just so you know, that doesn't really work very well. Because like you said, like who's going to tell LeBron James that what he's saying is stupid? Because half these guys are on his payroll. They don't want to make him mad. And I've had people around me. It doesn't do anybody any good. Because then you start to believe the crap you're saying. And unfortunately, these athletes, if athletes just looked at themselves as athletes, what they should, that's good. But they want to go out and give advice on a bunch of stuff. And these kids are listening on every word. And that might just be how you feel that day. And you might change and forget about whatever. But that kid that heard that message, that's what he's gonna live that whatever you're saying. And it's just like, guys, you have to be careful about the words that are coming out, man. Like and unfortunately, I think because of this, people are desensitized to words. Calling everyone the GOAT. How many times you hear he's the GOAT, and I'm like, by what? Give me one reason why this guy is considered the GOAT.
Yeah.
Or this.
I got it.
If you are going to call somebody trash or a team trash, just give me some stats behind it. Give me a reason. And if you have a legitimate reason, and I may not agree with you, but if that's why you think, then awesome. That you could call that guy because you have done your research, and in your mind, he doesn't fill out these requirements to be that, but he's trash or he's the greatest.
Stop. Don't listen to him. Forget it. Don't let it go over your head because he's just out of it.
No. I'm saying
I got it.
I've had this. I've had this through my whole life or whatever. And just so you guys know, I talk to kids all day. So I just wanted to come back on here because I would miss you.
We love you, man. You can come on whenever you want. We really appreciate it.
I just like to talk, man. You know what I mean?
I know. I got you. We have somebody waiting.
You can never. Hey, no one could ever offend me, dude. Ever.
I know. I know. You're an ex-football player.
But here's what I'm saying is I'm one of those guys. We grew up like if someone was saying some stupid shit, so stupid stuff,
yeah,
like you're like, no, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Don't like stop that. And here's the problem is everyone doesn't want to like, well, that's his opinion and he has the right to say it. And it's like, dude, but like we like how do you stop a certain behavior is you, for one, you have to address it first. And
No, we're gonna put somebody on. He's been waiting. I know he's got a lot to say. Hold on one second. Hold on one second.
Just tell me to shut up. Just
No, I'm not gonna do that.
No, you guys can just hang up on me. Dude.
No, you're fine. Who do we have on the phone?
You should know who you have.
I know who we have on the phone. I'm supposed to ask. So, Anthony, what's up, man?
Give me the introduction, goddammit.
Anthony, what's up, man? What's up, man?
Holy shit! This was the most interesting game of phone tag I've ever had in my entire life.
Well, because it's Speedy. It's he's not very good with two-way calls on an iPhone. He's had for years. I set up. Just listen to this on the network. On the network. I made sure I got a phone strictly for him because he knows how to use it. And for some reason, he doesn't know how to do two-way calling on it. He doesn't know how to do three-way calling on it. I mean, like, if you don't know how to do it, so I should have just bought an Android phone. But anyways.
Let's get it real, okay? You used the word three-way and Speedy. He probably got scared and didn't know how to use it.
Yeah, well, he doesn't even know what a two-way is. Then again, three-way.
I had that same joke lined up, guys, too. I had that same joke lined up, damn it.
All right. What would you like to talk about, Anthony?
Oh, nothing. I'm just calling to say hello, especially after I heard Jeff kind of go off. I thought, it just reminded me of the good old days.
Well, you know what? Jeff always calls this show. He always got to stick up his ass. But
it was interesting that, you heard something about Kim English and, the greatest basketball player, basketball coach and all that. I was waiting for him to say something about Brady also being the best basketball.
Oh, well, hold on one second. The reason why he brought up Kim English is because he coaches who? Providence. And where is he from? Providence. That's why he won't think Providence is trash because that's his team. Purdue, trash. Trash. Providence,
listen,
oh my God, they're the world beaters.
All I know is, my alma mater, you know what I mean? They couldn't beat Rutgers. Purdue couldn't beat Rutgers.
No.
It was a nice little upset for them. So I was happy.
You're from Rutgers?
Yeah, he went to Rutgers, yes.
Oh, they've been our nemesis for the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Yes. He said
did Harper Jr. go anywhere?
Did you Harper? He said, what did you say?
Ron Harper Jr.
Ron Harper Jr. go anywhere?
I'm pretty sure he did.
Ron Harper Jr. Yeah.
Yeah, tell him, dude. No, tell him we hate
Toronto.
Rutgers.
He went to Toronto.
We hate playing Rutgers, dude. They've had our number the last 3 years.
Mm. It's so funny because we just did a whole segment, almost an hour worth of college basketball. But what is really interesting about all sports, even the NBA with the injuries, everybody, all of a sudden the season's almost over. Paul George is out for 3 weeks. So there's like 2.5 weeks left of the season. Paul George is out. And then you have Karl Anthony Towns coming back. And then Zion Williamson, he's coming back, this week after how long has he been out? So
Luka came back today.
Yeah. So the only reason why they're coming back is because guess what? The playoffs are right around the corner. So you're paying, and I argued about this last week with Jeff, stating that these NBA players are taking off a significant amount of time. They're making hundreds of millions of dollars, and I think there should be some kind of policy. If they don't play a certain amount of games a season, there should be money drawn out of their contract every single year. There has to be something linked to their contracts that if they don't play a certain amount of games, they can't make that kind of money. Because to me,
people were having that same argument when LeBron was going on the very noticeable rests, the days of rests that he was taking a few years back. And all they were talking about, well, he's taking another day off. Well, he's taking another day off. And you want to know something? People bitched and complained about it for the duration of that year, and now it's become a norm. And is it going to change? If King LeBron's doing it. And then when King LeBron retires, then when Doncic's doing it, and the next guy, and the next guy, and the next guy. Nobody wants to rock the boat. with the face of the NBA.
But it's so funny when you watch The Last Dance and you watch what Chicago, with the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan and what he said. I play for the fans. I know that these fans are coming to watch me play, so I want to make sure I can play 82 games in a season because I know that these fans are coming to see me. So that's
how bad do you think Durant's ankle really is? Come on, bro.
Not bad. And I'll tell you this: these guys. I'm not going to say it on live radio because I don't want to, curse on it. But you know what I feel about these NBA players. I think they're a bunch of little girls. And you have hockey players; their teeth get knocked out, their fingers getting skated over by some of these players going full speed. They play with broken toes, broken ankles, and they still go out there and they play 100% broken wrists, broken elbows. And you have these guys, even football players. Terrell Owens, he played in the Super Bowl with a broken leg. So go ahead. What were you going to say?
I just want to make this point. You guys bring up a great thing. Like the whole point of playing a sport is to play on game day, right? Like that you do everything in your power to make sure you are ready to play on game day. Like for instance, in the NFL, you train your balls off for a year for 16 chances. 55 plays times 6, that many plays. I'm sitting here thinking there is no way in hell I'm going to miss any of these plays. I am not I'll miss other stuff. Forget practice. I mean, I'm going to do everything I can to be at the game. And I'm going, if you don't want to play in the game, like why are you even here? Like what is it that why is it that you don't even want to play? Like I talked about when I said Darren Waller and Carr, they're under contract and you're there you only have so many opportunities. And those guys they don't care about the game at all. It starts to look at you, hey, why are you really doing this and what's important?
Yeah, and Brian Dable will make him care about the game, right, Anthony?
Oh, hell yeah.
And by the way,
like you said though, no one's gonna. If everyone just keeps going along with it, it's never gonna change, right? And then the younger guys, they come in, and when you're a younger guy, you're gonna look at the guys who are all stars, and I go, I'm gonna do what they do.
You're gonna look up to them, yeah.
And if they're doing that, it's just you need someone to go out there and say, I'm not doing
So why doesn't LeBron James do that? And that's what bothers me about LeBron James. LeBron James looked up to Michael Jordan. Would Michael Jordan sit out in games like that?
LeBron James is not a good leader.
No, but that's what bothers me about these players. They're making more money now than they ever had. And then they're sitting here and complaining about, well, I want to make more money. Kyrie Irving comes out. Mute him for a second. Kyrie Irving comes out and he says all these different things and he attacks people in so many different ways.
That guy is like, I mean, does he mean half the stuff he says, or is
he's an idiot? But that's what attacks that my thoughts to the way sports is becoming. These guys, they use their platform to come out with some of the stupid things that they say because they know there are millions of people watching them, listening to them, talking about what they say after the game. So you know what they do? They come out and say the stupid things that they say because they know it's going to be talked about on every single other radio, every other radio show or on a TV show.
Hot takes. Yep. Hot takes. Well, I will say this. The one thing that I love, and then I'll get off because
No, we appreciate you, man.
When it was last year, we were playing Kansas City. No, maybe 2 years ago when Woodson got inducted to Charles Woodson got inducted to the NFL Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. They had a Woodson day. Right, they had a whole weekend. They flew him out. It was like the greatest life. They had people behind the screen talking or whatever. But for the game, it was Raiders versus Kansas City. And they had a whole deal for Woodson, right? They had the big guy that is part of the Hall of Fame that tells everyone they're in it. Mm-hmm. All of the Raiders players that are still alive, that were Raiders players that were in the Hall of Fame, they were all there as well. So they all had their yellow jackets on. They had 24 everywhere. They had a big ceremony before the game. Woodson talked. He had his bust there, and during the game, right, we got smoked. Just absolutely smoked. And you have a guy like Abrams who's wearing 24, I'm thinking like, I'm about to play a game where I'm wearing a guy's number and those numbers mean a lot. They really do. When someone's wearing your number, man, it's like, it's a big deal. And if he just picked that number, he had never worn 24. He's trying to make a statement. Like I'm good enough to wear this number. So you better go out there, especially on that night with players that played in that uniform that are in the Hall of Fame, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that those guys after the game, regardless if we win or lose, go.
They remember you. Yeah.
Elite, yes, right. And I'm watching this game, and I was so happy. Not that they were getting their butts kicked, but I was so happy because the stuff that we're talking about, like, this new generation of athletes, the guys back in the day they hate all of these dudes. Not hate them, but they don't like anything that's going on with the way these athletes are conducting themselves. Unfortunately, the ones who are behind the scenes, they talk amongst each other, and the guys who are up front, they can't say what they want to really say. They're going to lose their jobs if they do. Yeah. So how do you can see this thing happening, but how do you stop it? You know what I'm saying? Like you said, these guys think it's big. They're bigger than the game. And I just remember Willie Brown said this. He said, Stu, he says, on that football train of life, when you get off of it, that joker keeps right on going. There'll be another you. There's a million other yous right now that'll be here next year.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There are a couple guys, think about the greatest players, but within 2 or 3 years, we're on to somebody else, man. You know what I mean? Like that, and that thought right there is a tough one to settle. But some of these guys, again, it's like, shut up, dude. Just go out there and you're complaining about, but again, you don't really realize what you have until it's gone. I mean, right. I remember some of the stuff I complained about, and then I went and played like in the UFL, which was a good league, but I'm just thinking of like some of the things I'm like, wow, like it's sometimes it's good to get a reality check. And some of these guys, it's amazing. And I'm on your pace. Basketball players, they're a different breed. They're, like you said, out for 6 weeks with a sprained ankle.
Yeah.
I mean, football, your Ronnie Lott cut his finger off because he was sick of it getting taped. I mean, you roll your ankle, break your leg, and you're back the next week.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a mindset, right? And unfortunately, whoever is the people at the top who are, and here's the deal that people don't realize, you're the greatest right now. It doesn't mean you're the greatest ever. You're just the greatest guy on that team. But if he's a great player, so-called great player, and he does bad habits and no one corrects it, the
people
younger guys,
follow him.
They're just going to follow suit. So,
Stu, you're awesome. Thank you.
I'm going to leave you guys, dude. You guys, hey, listen.
Love you, man.
You guys are bugging me. I can't get an word in edgewise, right? So I'm gonna get off now.
Stu, you're the best. Thank you. Stu, he's fantastic. He's funny. Anthony, but I will say this before we go. I think the way everything that's happening right now when it comes to free agency with the NFL, and you see what's going on with the whole Aaron Rodgers thing. You heard Stu. He's not a big Aaron Rodgers fan, but he respects his talent. He respects his ability.
Oh, imagine if Aaron Rodgers went to the Raiders.
If he went to the Raiders, he probably wouldn't like it, but guess what? It's Aaron Rodgers. You're not going to take shots at Aaron Rodgers knowing that it's Aaron Rodgers because you know the talent that he brings to the field. And he even said it. Look at the talent that he's played with in Green Bay over the last couple of years. And look where that talent has gone after they left Green Bay and how far they've gone. Nowhere. So the game is, if you have a talented quarterback like that, he could take your team to higher heights. The question is, how far is he going to take you? Is he enough to take you to that next level that you expect them to be? And only time will tell with the Jets. So,
Anthony, you got anything else?
No, not really. Like I said, I just called to say hello.
And I really appreciate it. Why don't you tell everybody out there about your event that is going to be held in Queens this weekend?
Oh, this Saturday, 25th of March, Queens Theater, I will be hosting my first MMA kickboxing mixed event as a promoter. ISK is sanctioning it, and the man right there on your screen, Mr. Errol Marks, will be spinning the turntables.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty happy with the way everything's turned out. And if anybody out there was wondering, just like I've been telling everybody all goddamn day and annoying me, I have no more tickets. So, you know what I mean? And it's funny, too, because I wish I had, like, one of those people, like, in the corner with the sign language and shit, because they still don't get it when I say, dude, how are we doing with the tickets? I have none. Oh, yeah. So then when they call back and they're like, Any luck with those tickets? Luck with what? What luck? What? You know, pulling a friggin' wishbone, rubbing a damn lamp. Yeah, guess what? No, I don't have shit. Sorry. No tickets. Is it streaming? No. How are you supposed to see it? Well, you should have bought a ticket. Sorry, not streaming. You know what I mean? Oh, you really wanted to see it? Well, not that damn bad. You would have bought a ticket. You know? So basically, as you can tell, this week has been pretty difficult.
That sounds like it.
Because thankfully, with the people that have supported me in the gyms, really good crew of gyms, nice variety mix, 11 gyms in the tri-state area that came and is showing their support by having their fighters on. I honestly I'm very grateful. I'm very thankful for not only the quality of the gyms, but just the quality of the people that are involved and the fighters. Everybody's just are really nice people. Not to mention the support that I got from my family and everybody that's getting involved to, work the show and help me out with the show. Errol being one of them, obviously. And then you got some other names that are there, like Mike Washington, who used to be on the radio show as well. You got like a lot. It seems like it's one big ass reunion, really, is what's going on. And I can't honestly, and between that and my family, who's also be working the show, like I said, I can't feel any luckier than what's going on. And I wouldn't have it any other way. So, like I said, this weekend, but I will have it on YouTube. I have somebody videoing it and editing it, and it'll be posted pretty soon and such. And then the next show after that's going to be July 15th. So I'm already got the second one already booked for the Queen's Theater as well. We'll be there again. So, a lot of good things happening and everything. And, it's good to actually finally get in. Thanks, Speedy. Thanks.
My apologies.
No, it's okay. I enjoy when people call me, and then when I call back, I don't know, they just hang up a few times. And
well, Speedy needs to learn how to use the iPhone.
We'll figure that out.
And then obviously, I love when they tell me, call back. Oh, okay, I'll call back. And then no, it's okay. But then you had me there for 10 minutes. It was nice. It was kind of I felt like I was right there in the room. It was cute, really. Hopefully next time, I don't know, pick up the phone. Just say.
Anthony,
I will learn it. Don't worry, Anthony. I feel bad. I'm very sorry.
Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad.
Feel bad.
I'll just go home and seal the windows and turn on the gas.
He'll whimper. He'll whimper. Yeah.
Just saying. But listen, I'll let you guys go. I know you're
thank you, man.
running over here. No problem, man. I'll talk to you soon. Later, Speedy.
Anthony Anderosi, if you don't remember him, ladies and gentlemen, he did Caged in MMA with me. Yeah, good friend. He's doing his first MMA event, which is going to be held out at the Queen's Theater in Queens this weekend at 6:00. If you don't have a ticket, well, like he said, good luck. But it's going to be a big event for him, and I'm happy for him. I know he's been excited for the last couple of weeks, couple of months, and I think he's going to do very well as a promoter. He's a good guy, good friend, and hardworking guy who's been through a lot, medically and just everything. I mean, for everything that's happened to him, good things coming his way. So thank you to Stuart Schweigert for joining us. He was fantastic.
Stuart Schweigert times 2.
Yeah, but he was fantastic. Jeff for calling and being Jeff. For all the fans out there that listen to our show and are entertained by us throughout the next 2 days, every Wednesdays and Thursdays. We really appreciate you. And throughout our network of people and shows that we have on our network, for all the fans that support what we do, we really appreciate you guys. We do. And everything that we've done over the last couple of years and the opportunities that some of our talented guys have got, after leaving the Worldwide Sports Radio Network and Sports on the Go One Radio. I thank everybody for continuously giving us the opportunity to entertain you guys. So thank you. We'll be back tomorrow, 9 p.m. Maybe we'll have Mark Everett Kelly in the studio tomorrow. Who do we have tomorrow?
So 9:30, returning to the show is Fox Charlotte Sports Live host and reporter Will Kunkel. and also a Yankee fan and a Ranger fan as well. And at 10 o'clock, we'll have former Packers, Panthers, and Seahawks offensive guard Mike Wall will be returning to the show as well. We had him on February last year.
It'll be fun. So stay tuned tomorrow. A lot to get into. We got into practically everything that we needed to get into today. But whatever we've missed, we will get into tomorrow. I promise you that. Until tomorrow, this is Errol Marks, Speedy PD, and yes, us, the Sports Loudmouth, saying good night. We'll talk to you then. Good night.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a